Hello, everybody. Tonight, Mizu is sick. Lumi is out of the house. You might see her in the corner there, but she's not here. The fox has invaded her personal space, and he'll be here eventually. Oh, excuse me. But welcome to Under the Tea. We're not actually doing a full stream tonight, just because, like, okay, there was a hurricane in my area on Monday, so I didn't get to do any preparation. Normally I help.
House blew up.
Pretty much, yeah. Normally what happens is I kind of suggest things. We pull together topics. And Mizu does this as well, and so does Lumi. But Lumi's been out of the house because she's got things that she's taking care of. Mizu got back from AX and decided to get sick, and I didn't have power till literally like 10 hours ago, so I didn't get to do anything. Even though there's shit tons of stuff to talk about, neither of us are prepared for it. So instead, we're gonna do the next best thing. Mizu decided to
another react video.
Mizu found some cringe to talk about. We're gonna watch that, and then we're gonna watch something that a viewer suggested in the viewer suggested react channel. By the way, chat, if you suggest things to react to, as long as it's on YouTube, chances are, if it's interesting, we'll probably say yes. So, anime funk. Maybe.
Well, I've heard people call it the con cold.
A con crud too.
I would like you to know, chat, that I picked the Lily Orchard video because I saw it on Twitter a couple times, and from what I heard of it, I think it would torture all of you as much as it would torture me.
So before we actually get started, by the way, chat, Temp will show up here eventually. He's gonna be on tonight. See, originally it was just gonna be Mizu and Temp. And then my power came back. I'll be honest, I didn't expect my power to come back. I'll talk about that more tomorrow during my stream, but
yeah, chat, we probably would have been doing something a bit more detailed, but up until like midway through today, we thought Akko also wouldn't be here, and it would be just me.
Yeah.
And I would be sick. So I was trying to be like, what can I do while I'm sick and everybody's gone?
There's zero we do apologize, chat, for that. We like to prepare for you, but instead of having nothing for you, we've decided to do the next best thing, which is something we're already doing. And people seem to like the reactions a little bit, so we're gonna do that. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I know relatively little about Lily Orchard. You kind of gave me some information on them. And
yeah, chat, so I'm going to clarify. We are going to make fun of Lily's video. We are not... There are allegations from someone who claims to be Lily's sister that is way above our pay grade, and we will not be talking about that. However, we may end up mentioning that Lily Orchard wrote a 3-day-long fan fiction about adoptive incest rape in My Little Pony, because that may become relevant later in the video.
I can't take that serious, because here's the thing. Obviously, assault of any kind is very serious, and I take it very seriously. However, adding the words My Little Pony in front of it immediately ruins my ability to take it seriously. All I will say is it's kind of weird. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that's legal, so I don't care. Same with the lolly stuff, but it skeeves me more out than the lolly stuff does. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
We are aware that there are other allegations. However, it is way above our pay grade.
Pretty much.
And our informational abilities.
We do not have the Kiwi Farms thread open. Even if we did, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna. All we know is that there are allegations.
You're welcome, chat. It's called Stockholm. If you want to look it up, you can search Stockholm by Jerry Pete, and there's tons of whatchamacallit archives of it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
For full transparency, they claim that either they never wrote Stockholm, or if you show them the the archives, they'll say that the story they wrote was edited to make them look bad, and that none of the crazy shit that's in it is what they put in it, which I don't believe, personally. What's the context? There's no context. They just wrote like a 3-day long fan fiction about Rainbow Dash fucking Scootaloo in the ass with her Fudacock. You're welcome.
Horse Fudacock, by the way.
Horse Fudacock, yes.
I can't.
And just keep in mind that they wrote that while we're watching a video about how, quote unquote, like, dark media is bad.
Yeah, this video came after what we're about to talk about today.
Look, chat, if Stockholm wasn't literally had an estimated reading time of 3 days, I would torture all of you and read it on stream.
I would force you to be the only one to read it because I am not reading it. There's a lot of things I'll read, but that sounds like a line I'm not willing to cross.
Book 5 is literally 58 chapters by itself and takes an estimated reading time of a day and 2 hours.
Okay, have you read it?
I've read snippets, yes. Particularly, the more suspect ones that people were talking about.
How do you get, again, knowing the basic premise that you told me, how do you get that much reading time for a My Little Pony fanfiction like that?
Fuck if I know.
I'm feeling a bit afraid of what's to come. Don't worry, chat. This video isn't that long, and after this, one of our viewers submitted a video for us to watch that
It takes 3 days to read. It has an estimated reading time of 3 days. For like a normal person's reading speed. It's probably broken into chapters. It's 9 books and 120 something chapters.
Jeez.
Some of the books are very short. The Valentine's Day episode is only 1 chapter.
Oh, you know what? Let's make that a member stream. If you want to listen to us read that chat, become a member. We'll make that a member stream. We were going to do a member stream this week, but then we decided that it might not be a good idea to touch the topic we were thinking about doing. But let's wait for Lumi to get back, and then we'll do a member stream where we read the first book. Well, obviously,
I could probably get away with that. The first book's not that bad. Not that long.
Well, I'll help you read it. I'll help you read it, but I'm gonna like have to self-censor some of the words I see because like I'm not gonna. Yeah, but we'll make that a member stream.
Yeah,
member stream chat.
Look, on the one hand, I want to say that is super cringe and fucking weird. On the other hand, if you go to like any fanfiction site, it's actually not that abnormal.
No, it's not.
Fair.
It's not. I think the weirdest part about it is that it involves a pony that it involves an underage pony.
That is someone's adoptive daughter.
I can't say that without a stream. It involves an underage pony. And
you're welcome for this cursed information, chat, and Akko. Because Akko didn't know about this till today. I told this to Akko earlier.
Like, all I knew is that they shat on Steven's universe. And that's about it. Which, to be fair, it's very low-hanging fruit to shit on Steven's universe. But, like, that's all I knew them on. Oh, they also reviewed Korra. But beyond that, I knew nothing about them. I knew that they were kind of weird. But like,
fun fact, if you go into like any Steven Universe community and you ask them where they think all the hate comes from, almost every single one of them will tell you that Lily Orchard specifically turned the entire internet against Steven Universe. Despite the fact that Lily Orchard is either universally hated or ignored by a majority of people, they are convinced that it was solely Lily Orchard that convinced people that Steven Universe was bad. Same thing for Legend of Korra. Also, I did watch her Legend of Korra video. She insists that every season is about dismantling a type of government.
Is it true?
I don't think so. I think she's just retarded.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Holy cow. No, yeah, chat. We'll make that. We'll do that. In fact, I'm gonna at Lumi and tell her what we're subjecting her to.
Here's the thing, chat. A lot of people hate Steven Universe, and there's a lot of reasons to hate Steven Universe. The first one is that it starts really fucking slow, and then when it finally picks up, for whatever reason, they just decided they didn't care about the story anymore, and they would constantly have these random filler, like, seasons that didn't progress the plot at all. The first show ends with Steven going to Space Hitler and saying, well, as long as you feel sorry for it, it's okay. And we can, you know, forgive and forget. And again, it's not a joke. The main villain of Steven Universe is Space Hitler, has genocided countless planets, and believes their race is the Uber race. Even as of, like, the most recent episodes, when they still bring in Space Hitler to act like part of the family, they'll say some shit like, oh, all these lesser life forms I have to put up with just to keep you happy. They genuinely still hate every other species that isn't their own. Also, it has probably the most shit portrayal of, like, mental health issues, because Steven Universe has, like, a whole anxiety attack and mental breakdown in the final episode, and they resolve it by hugging him. And they're like, yeah, you know, if somebody's having a mental breakdown and, you know, they're depressed and they have PTSD, you just give them a hug and it'll work out.
I was gonna give a German accent and say something funny.
I genuinely hate Steven Universe. Probably more than is healthy, but I do.
Can I do a stupid
What about his
impression?
negligent father? Do they not care about him? Yeah, his dad kind of shit.
I cannot sit next to these stupid non-crystal people. They're very weird. That was bad.
Also, I don't think they get rid of slavery, because like the Crystal Gem Empire still has like a caste system of sorts, and all the pearls are slaves. And as far as I'm aware, they never get rid of that part. Like the caste system just stays in place. And all the pearls are still just slaves to everyone else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Steven Universe had concrete. That was funny. Have you ever seen that one, Akko?
No, I have not.
Someone released like the sketchbook of all the different gems. And there was a black gem called concrete.
Oh, you're right. I do remember that. And they decided not to put it in there because they thought it would be racist.
Because it had big donut lips, and one of the specified traits of concrete was that they were, they could not read and they were unintelligent.
That is so bad.
You would be surprised, Akko, about like how bad, like how deep the rabbit hole goes. Even a furry wouldn't realize how deep the rabbit hole goes.
See, I never
They're
watched.
obsessed about lesbian stuff. Yeah.
I've never watched any of Steven Universe, and that is because I heard it was cancer. And then when it was over, or was it over or canceled? I can't remember.
It was over.
It was over, and when it was over, I heard it was just bad. It was just really bad. Because like, here's the thing. There's lesbian stuff in it, which I'm pretty sure most people don't really care about that, because like most people can be okay with lesbian stuff. But like I heard that they made the lesbian stuff like bad.
So here's the fun part, right? The one directly canonical lesbian couple is Garnet, who is a combination of sapphire and amethyst, I think. Fucking not amethyst. I don't know what the other one is. But Garnet is a fusion of two lesbian gems, and they are always fused to the point that, like, we are 30, 40 episodes in, and when they unfuse, it's like this massive revelation that they're actually two separate people that are just constantly together like that. And I only bring that up because in a later episode where they're telling Steven about relationships, and Steven is getting like really obsessive about his girlfriend, they say, Steven, you need to like have time apart from your significant other. You need to have like your own things to do. Like my two parts are completely their own separate people and have their own separate like lives to live. And I was like, okay, that's technically a good message for kids.
Here, I'm gonna set
and maybe teenagers. However, Garnet is permanently together to the point that them being two separate people was a massive reveal. You do not have your own separate lives. You are literally permanently fused together. And you only come apart one time. So I don't know what the fuck you're on about.
Was it only one time? I had a feeling that it was like more than once, but like
they come apart more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, chat's got my point. Good message, wrong person. Yeah, like it's a fine message, but when you think about it canonically, it makes no fucking sense for them to say it because they genuinely are like permanently fused at the hip, literally.
See, like I feel like because like there's a good message to be had about how a couple should be like one. Because my mom always talked about how couples should be like one, and she really just means like one in purpose, one in being. Like there's a real big spiritual aspect to that. I feel like that could be a good way to do a gem like that, but it sounds like it didn't work the way that it should have been.
I think for the most part it like worked fine. It's just they constantly had her delivering messages that didn't make any sense when you like gave it 2 seconds of thought.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know, you and your partner need time apart. Aren't you and your partner literally fused together permanently? Like you're almost never apart ever.
Yeah. Well, like I haven't seen Steven Universe, so I can't break down a show that I legitimately don't give two fucks about. But I don't know. I'm not planning on it ever. If people tell me I need to watch it to judge it, I was like, no. I read the synopsis. Absolutely not.
What about the abuse fusion bit? Yeah, so that was another thing. They kept trying to push that fusion was like sexual, and it was like the closest gems could get to like having sex. But then they wanted Steven to be able to fuse, and Steven's a child.
So no!
Then they had to like kind of try and retcon it into it's something completely different, like it's a more general idea of love. But then they have to do like triple fusions at one point, which get like very large and very like extremely powerful.
Yeah.
But they wanted to do a whole episode that like portrayed it as if the other two girls were raping Garnet by lying about wanting to fuse. And they tried to make it this really deep, emotional, impactful thing. And it's like, so first it was sex. Then it wasn't sex because you wanted Steven to do it. Now it is sex again. So it's very, very abusive for somebody to want to do that with you for false reasons. And then later they make it not sex again because they want Steven to fuse with his own dad. So like, fuck if I know what they're doing with that. I try not to ask too many questions.
Ira, thank you.
Funny thing about Lily is she literally stole 2 articles from other people and manages to sound more racist.
Thank you for the 5.
I genuinely don't know what that's about. If you want to send it in the Discord, feel free. But that is lore I'm not 100% sure on. Yeah, no, I could sit down all day and just like talk about why Steven Universe is genuinely bad and poorly thought out.
So did you watch every episode?
Yes.
Oh,
I've seen all of Steven Universe. Because I was young and we didn't really have like access to many TV channels.
I see. So what you're saying is you didn't know it was
I come
shitty.
from a poor family.
Okay. I mean, fair enough. I mean, like, I didn't have cable. I had the Netflix CD that went into the Wii.
Here's the thing. By the time I had more options to watch, I was so deep in Steven Universe, I had to know, like, how it ended.
I'm sorry.
And it ended as, like, an absolute shit show.
Well, how did it end? I imagine people don't care.
They have a gall to say a thing about anime. So I've actually brought this up before, chat. That, like, especially when you see people talk about, like, lolicon issues, if you actually think about, like, what is considered normal for Western media, everything people say is creepy about anime is in Western media in spades.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's completely acceptable when it's Western media.
I mean,
like, a hugely popular one was Ben and Gwen. And they were cousins, and that was always a thing. That was also Lolicon Shotokan, because they were both... Ben 10 is literally 10 years old.
Oh yeah, dude. What about... Was it Owl House? And then there's a lot of...
Tons of porn of Owl House.
Then there's like the one about the girl who's like the space princess.
Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Yes, it was like she was a star princess, but it kind of was like in an anime-esque font. That shit,
that show was also fine until like the second season, that it just blew up.
I heard that it was decent until the second season, but that's one of those things where I'm like, wait a minute. And this is something that gets me, especially with like artists that say no lolly or shota, and yet they do American versions of what lolly and shota would be, and I'm just like, hang on a moment. What's this? You're drawing Ben 10 like drilling out his girlfriend here, and he's like 10 years old. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. At one point, Ben and Gwen were supposed to be brother and sister. That's interesting.
Oh, that's even weird. I mean, it's probably not canonical, but that's weirder. Oh, Iris sent the video. Racist and plagiarizing. That's weird.
But yeah, it's the fact that a lot of the same shit people say is weird about anime is perfectly fine if it's in a Western show and nobody complains.
Oh, it's so weird. No, yeah, it's complete hypocrisy. Absolutely 110% because the funny thing is, Japanese people don't care. They'll sexualize your American characters too because they know it's fiction.
Yeah.
The Japanese people
Gravity Falls is another one, yeah.
Yes! Oh, fuck. I've never watched Gravity Falls.
There's so much porn of Dipper and Mabel.
You wanna know what the saddest thing is? Because Gravity Falls, I think it came out, like, when I was a missionary, and then I came home when I was an adult. The same with Star versus the Evil show. The first time I saw both of those shows were hentai.
Yeah,
I'm unironically not joking. So, like, if you want to talk about people drawing fucked up shit, let's start with Western media first. Also, here's the thing that I think a lot of people forget.
Loud House? Oh, there's tons of orgy art of the Loud House.
Here's something that people forget. The artists that work on these shows, I guarantee you they have some form of hentai of the characters that they work on, or of something.
Oh yeah, no, the lady that did Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar, has tons of porn of Ed, Edd n Eddy.
No, there you go. There you go.
She drew tons of porn of Ed, Edd n Eddy and put it on her Tumblr.
Isn't Ed, Edd n Eddy, like, they're all kids too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Chad, it's all weird, alright? That means it's all equal, in my opinion. They're not real. If they were based off of real kids, that'd be another thing. But they're not real, so I don't care. But like, ugh.
Also, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but out of all the shows we've talked about, Gravity Falls is the one that was legitimately good from start to finish.
I heard that it was decent. Like, wasn't the main bad guy, like, literally the Illuminati?
Yes.
That's
also, Gravity Falls is very good because the creator of it, I think it's Alex Hirsch, stopped it when he wanted it to stop. He's like, I have this story, it's going to take this many seasons, and then they tried to get him to renew it for like a 4th season, and he's like, no, I told you I had this story and it took this many seasons to do it.
That's awesome.
And it's done.
Most people would try and milk the money from it. That's great.
Invader Zim was another one. I actually have never seen much Invader Zim porn.
That was one of
Although
the.
he's an alien, so you could probably get around that.
I mean, like, here's
Also,
the thing.
Invader Zim was just like a nasty show.
I'm sure that it exists, but it's one of those ones where it's obscure enough that I don't feel like there's a lot of it. Oh, yep, Disney.
It's obscure enough, and it's just genuinely a very gross looking show, which is the point of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the Disney porn vault.
Oh yeah, it's people, you know, it's funny, chat. Now, and I don't encourage. By the way, no harassment of any kind is tolerated. But I bet you dollars and donuts that if you looked on any of these people platforms that are antis, you'll probably find some sort of Western media that is just as sus as the lolicon that they think is bad. So
Justice League had Rule 34. To be fair, almost everybody in Justice League was an adult. Although there is an awful lot of Wonder Brat porn.
Not the Junior Justice League one.
Oh, yeah, no, there's plenty of that, too.
Have you seen?
Now that I think about it, yeah, the one where they're all teenagers.
Yeah.
To be fair, Miss Martian was hot, so.
No, I'm talking like the Junior Justice League ones. The one with Beast Boy and, fucking, what was their name? I know
you
one
mean
of
more like Teen Titans?
Yeah, Teen Titans, there we are.
That was a Justice League, though.
Well, aren't they like Justice League adjacent or something?
I mean, they're Marvel DC stuff, but they're not like Justice League adjacent.
Fair enough.
They're kind of their own thing.
No, but there's plenty of stuff with Teen Titans, and oh my gosh. Oh, that's it. Like, obviously Raven is the most popular. See what
I prefer Starfire, to be honest.
Here's the crazy thing. They like leaned into it in the show, because I remember seeing a scene where like Raven Leg was like, "You don't get to see me underneath the cloak," and then she pulls out her leg, and then Beast Boy is like, he turns into a dog and starts howling for her because he's so into it. It's just like, this is a kid show?
That was Teen Titans Go.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was. That was a kid show.
To be fair, Teen Titans Go is like oddly adult. Like they have no less than 3 episodes about economics and taxes.
They had a movie. I had to take a brother to go see the movie. It's not a bad movie. I'll be honest with you. The storytelling is not bad. They do a decent job at what they do, but it's just like...
The problem is, like, with Teen Titans Go is 3 different things, right? The first is that when they do, like, child humor, they, like, really push, like, the children have no attention span level humor type stuff. Then they do tons of episodes which children would have no interest in. Like I said, there's no less than 3 episodes that are strictly around economics and taxes. And even as an adult, I'm like bored sitting through those ones because I'm like, why are you telling me about fucking taxes? Isn't this a comedy cartoon? Like we spent 30 minutes of Beast Boy explaining how the government works. One is they get way too sensitive about criticism. They have about a dozen episodes of them just shitting on people criticizing them and like getting super defensive about it.
What, in Teen Titans?
Teen Titans Go.
Really?
Yeah. They completely reworked one of the original Teen Titans villains into just being like internet critics they don't like and trying to shit on him.
Oh, that's funny.
They genuinely cannot take any level of criticism. You can
Really
tell it burns
funny.
them up inside.
That is great.
But it entertains kids, so I mean, I guess whatever.
Yeah. Oh, Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls as well.
God, the reboot was so bad.
I have not seen it. I heard it was horrible.
Dumb.
For sure.
They legit made an episode making fun of people for wanting the original show back. Yeah, they did. They also made an episode making fun of people for thinking the original show was better, which was a completely separate one.
Yeah.
And they literally had, like, the original styled characters come out and say, "You have taught me that Teen Titans Go is a worthy successor, and anyone who says otherwise is a meanie doo-doo poo-poo head."
It's very childish.
It's like... It's what I mean. Like, they're just they can't take it. They can't take any criticism. It's so pathetic.
Oh.
Like, just don't address it, especially not in the show.
Reboot had that self-insert guy. Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, and the director for the Powerpuff Girl reboot has multiple episodes where he has a self-insert character that looks exactly like him dating Blossom. And he swears that it is a joke made by like the staff. They made the character look like him as a prank on him, but he has written all 4 of those episodes.
Oh no. Do you think he knows?
He doesn't know. He did it. He swears it was a joke they played on him. Everybody knows he's lying because he has like fanfic or whatever of him dating Blossom as well. But he swears up and down that like people did it to prank him, and it's like, no, you did it. You literally wrote the episode. You're the director and you wrote that episode. Don't give me the shit that they did it to prank you.
Wow.
I hope you're enjoying this just chatting session, chat.
Yeah,
we're getting very distracted.
I'll be honest with you. If they weren't interested, none of them would be here. So I think they love engaging. By the way, chat, thank you so much for being here. Again, I wish that my power didn't go out. Because if my power didn't go out, we would have been talking. Hell, a lot of shit happened this week. We had the Lollipop Girls thing that happened this week. VShojo has new applications open, and Zen is upset that people are saying that they're not going to hire anybody new, which is kind of funny. Just a ton of stuff that happened, but I couldn't prepare any of it. Like literally yesterday, I was one of my friends offered me to stay at their house because power was on for them, but they had no internet, so I had to pick and choose: no electricity or no internet.
VShojo's hilarious with their auditions because, like, Zen's doing the thing where, like, why are people saying we would never hire anybody new?
Here, I'm gonna look
we
up the
hire
tweet.
new people all the time, and it's like every single time you have done an audition, you have just so happened to hire somebody who is a massive creator who just left another organization. You do this so consistently that people have started calling you the VTuber retirement home.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna bring up the tweet because I want to read it. Well, we'll do a little bit of tea chat here.
Here's my thing, chat. I told this to Akko earlier. I don't care if VShojo only hires established creators.
I don't care either.
That's not my problem. My problem is they keep putting out these auditions pretending that they're going to pick somebody unknown. They don't. They make the auditions. I'm convinced that they put out the auditions when they already have somebody in mind.
I'm willing to believe
so
it.
that somebody new will be a part of VShojo by the end of the auditions, and it's going to be a massive creator. Some people are thinking it might be Dokibird. I don't know if it will be Dokibird.
I hope and pray not. She just got a new model. There's no reason for her to do it.
I think Dokibird might want to stay separated from any corporation for a while. But I could be wrong. But it's just, they're definitely just like winging it.
No, yeah, I agree. Here, let me read what Zen said, and then I just feel like I can pick it apart then. Heartbreaking and disheartening to see many people pushing the idea of Zen's friends only, which is kind of true, when each person I found had to work their way up to the top regardless. I have other friends.
Stop it there real quick. I hate that they try and pull this. They're like, no, like, they just happen to be my friends, and my friends just happen to be the most qualified. Oh yeah, really? Is that really the story we're gonna go with, Zen?
Yeah. I have other friends who don't want to join, who are working their asses off and doing amazing things. I even pushed management to open auditions again, finally after so long, and scout for new and upcoming people to mesh with. Want to meet new people and let other people get a sense for them as well and see who would fit the puzzle. And I came to a realization that even if we bring in a new person, people will claim we focused on new people instead of helping those who are halfway to success or larger creators being a part of something fun. Either way, it's a loss. which I believe is your fault again. I just
Wait,
want.
stop. She says we can't bring in a new person because people will complain that we brought in someone with no experience instead of somebody who's working their way up. How do you know that's going to happen?
I doubt it.
Because you've never
I doubt
hired a
it.
new person.
No, that's
Well,
that's
she
the thing.
says that as if like, oh, we've done this before, we've done that before, and both times we got shit. No, you have literally never hired a new person.
No.
Not once.
Never.
Ever.
Every
Don't
person.
give me that shit.
Every person in VShojo has been a VTuber for at least a year, I want to say, or is such an established creator that you know a lot about them. Like, yeah, no, every single person has been an established creator in some way. There is none of them that, like, hell, I'd say Zen is the only one that, like, started from the bottom because it's their company that they kind of co-founded or started. So
I will say, given VShojo's, like, fan base, they might unironically be right about people shitting on them for finding a new person.
you think so?
Because they have cultivated this audience that specifically expects, like, large, well-known creators to show up.
You think so?
So they might very well get some comments like, who's this no-name? Why would you bring this no-name in here? Why didn't you bring in somebody big? Because that's what you've fostered. You have fostered a company that is only seen as the biggest of the big. And you still try and pretend like you're this little indie company fighting for the little guy. Unironically, HoloLive is more indie than VShojo is, despite being far more corporate.
Oh, hello, Temp.
Hello.
Here, let me bring you in. We're talking about Zen complaining that people are upset.
Yeah, I know. I got that.
Yeah. Here, chat, let me bring in Temp. He still will be watching the chat, so you guys better behave. There we go. Very poofy little fox right there.
My problem with VShojo will always be, like, the dishonesty on their part. Because they just refuse to acknowledge what they are.
Oh yeah, like, if they were on, like, we talked about this. If they were 100% honest, just saying, we're looking for established people, we're looking for people who have been here for 6 months to a year that can show they know how to entertain. If they said that, guess what, chat? I would be over the moon. I would be way happier than I am right now. But it's just the dishonesty. Alright? And like, literally, it's unconfirmed. Somebody, Lumi said that somebody hypothesized that it's going to be another guy. Now, I wouldn't say go betting on that right now, but it would be very interesting if it was another guy. It'd be very interesting.
I unironically think it's dumb that they're bringing in men at all.
No, I agree. I agree. Here's what I'm going to think, chat, and I know this excludes me. Men, whether they're men or people that use synthesizers, and your female-only, mostly, organization, bad idea, alright? You're an organization that caters mostly to men, and bringing in men is a detriment, in my opinion, because...
Oh no, my issue is it's called VShojo.
Yeah, isn't shoujo, like, girls?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called VShojo, and they keep trying to add in men, and it's like... Maybe you should, like, make an extra branch or something, I don't know. I just feel like you're kind of muddying your own branding, and it sounds dumb, and I don't want you using, like, these genres and communities if you're just gonna ignore what they are. It just annoys me, like, in a small personal way, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I just...
How they treated Nux still rubs me the wrong way. See, that's the thing, right?
Oh,
because Nux kind of sucks as a person, but what they did to him was still, like, super shitty.
It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Unironically, I feel like that if they didn't do that, he would be more involved in the VTuber scene. I don't feel like he would be where he is today, which is just sitting there as Mudahar's co-host. And that's not a knock against Mudahar, because he is a decent guy when his takes aren't, like, absolutely shitty. But, like, that's all he is now, is Mudahar's co-host for his podcast.
See, I only knew of Nux through Noble, Lost Pause. That's the only time I ever heard about him until VShojo just started jumping on him.
Can I have the hot take that I've never liked Mudahar?
No, I think a lot of people don't like Mudahar, and that's fair, because, like, he looks at anime. The way some of his anime takes are just like, bro, you sound like such a boomer. And I know he's
even
not.
Before that, like for years, just the way he covered stuff always felt like he was just reading a Wikipedia article and he didn't know what he was talking about.
You think so?
Yeah. I've never liked him.
Fair enough. I've always liked his in-depth looks to things that actually are knowledgeable to him. Not like his reaction vids where he's talking about topics that are just like in the general world, like Boogie. But like things revolving around tech, I actually feel like he knows what he's talking about. So those I'm fine with. But like when he sits down and actually just talks dumb shit. And Ira, thank you for the 2. Love seeing Moo to drill Boogie yesterday. Yeah. I might
for those
talk...
of you who don't know,
Boogie.
For those of you who don't know, Boogie decided to get on a podcast. Ended up being offered something like
nearly $100,000.
$45,000.
No. So Mudahar was offering 60. Somebody else was offering 15 to 20. It got almost to $100,000. To put that into perspective, chat, they said that Boogie's house mortgage was at 140. So they were offering him more than half of what his current mortgage was to admit what his cancer diagnosis was. And he refused to.
Not to admit, they wanted to see the proof that he had cancer, a medical document.
Pretty much.
And he refused. He said no amount of money would ever give him to like drop his private medical information or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, chat, if I actually had cancer, I don't care if there's like some shit on my medical paper that says I have like a really embarrassing STD or something. If somebody offers me $100,000 for that thing, I'm giving it to them.
Oh yeah, like chat.
I don't care.
Chat, I don't care how much you laugh at the cancer rates that I would probably have. That's so much good money. Whew. You know what I'm doing with that money? Paying off my debts, closing my cards, and then I'm just gonna go live with my family until I die if I had cancer. If I didn't have cancer, I'd close my debts, pay off my car, and then I'd find a private job, and you'd never see me the fuck again. I'd invest all that shit in real good stuff, not like the crypto that he tried to push.
And Boogie was so against sharing it that most of the internet is fairly convinced that he's just lying.
No, yeah, chat. Press 1 in the chat if you think Boogie is lying about his cancer. Obviously, this is a statement, not a fact. Obviously, we don't know for sure because he'll never show us. But if you think that by his actions he was lying, press 1. If you think that he is not, press 2. And if you don't want to vote because you hate democracy, press 3. Akko would abandon us? No, I wouldn't abandon you. If I listen,
be in complete tranquility with that 80K. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm dropping my whole medical history for 80,000. I don't care.
Yeah, chat.
That money's life-changing for a lot of people.
It is. That's like about it. That's like 2 years of pay at my last job. But like, just to put that into perspective, Mr. Medicare, and not a lot of people might know who he is. I'm assuming most of our chat probably does. But like, Mr. Medicare actually does have cancer. He doesn't have just cancer. He has lots of other shit stacked on top of it, to the point where they're like, we actually don't know what's wrong with you. We just know you're gonna die soon. And so Medicare is the perfect guy to say, motherfucker, if you have cancer, I want to know about it, because I showed like all of my shit, and it took 10 minutes to scroll through too. And Boogie was just like, no, I just don't feel like it. I know you guys say I have no respect for myself, but I have enough respect for myself that I'm just not gonna show it. All right, you guys, I'm just not gonna show it. It's just like, bro. Shut up and show your cancer. Like, that's the thing that was funny, is like, he's like, oh, it's like the Animal Crossing of cancer, and you have the Dark Souls of cancer. It's just like, I don't care. Show us your cancer, bro.
Also, chat, for people that aren't like completely in the know, the issue is not that Boogie's saying that he has cancer and everybody's dogpiling him for it. The issue is he's like doing all these fundraisers to get money off having cancer. So people are becoming very suspicious that if he doesn't have it, he's been lying to everybody in order to fleece money from them. So now people are kind of like, well, we gave you all this money to help with your cancer. The least you could do is, prove that you have it. I think if Boogie wasn't asking for like all this money for like his cancer treatment, nobody would ask any questions.
No, yeah.
Everybody would be like, okay, it's whatever. He has cancer, that sucks.
I don't know. he's had such a history of lying that even if he wasn't trying to grift off of it, some people would probably.
Some people would. The bigger people would not. They'd be like, "Oh man, that sucks, dude. Like we've had our differences in the past, but you know, wouldn't wish cancer on anybody," and they'd walk away.
No, yeah, exactly. It's just, like, Chad, none of us here are mersh, all right? None of us here are like, "Oh, he's faking his cancer, bro. He's still on the internet. He's obviously faking." No, we're not like that. Not like that at all. But Boogie is such a horrible liar that there's no reason to believe him, and he knows that, which is why he was baiting again yesterday, baiting to sell his house, get rid of all his shit, and run away from the internet. It's like, that's not what's gonna happen. Chat, I bet you dollars and donuts. It might not be next week, but at some point, bless you, you're gonna see Boogie on the Locale podcast again. Bless you, because he has to come back. All right, he's gonna come back, and when he comes back, everybody's gonna laugh at him. Maybe they'll fake fire him or pretend that he's gone forever, but he's coming back, and you all know that because Boogie can't get enough of the attention. So. Plus, he apparently gets paid like $2 or $3 grand from the Locale podcast anyway, which is decent money. So, there's no reason to ruin that. You all know that, right?
I'm gonna really laugh when the guy who always posts, like, when the actual content starts, has to post in the bottom of the, this video, "Yeah, they don't start reacting till an hour in."
Yeah.
It's been about 50 minutes.
I mean, hey, at the very least, we're entertaining. We've done a good job at talking about things. I mean, technically, we're still doing the podcast. We're just doing a nice long talk. Maybe I'll change the thumbnail later. I don't know. But anyway.
Look, chat, I will ask Lumi how she does her, like, burp counter or whatever she has on hers, and I will make one of those on my Twitch for sneezes.
There you go. I don't know if that would work for YouTube, but excuse me.
Probably not.
I don't know. Mizu gets some OJ in you? Yes. Mizu, have you had any vitamin D?
Not today.
Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, chat. A lot of crazy stuff. And I mean, the only really other thing is just the lollipop stuff that... Honestly, I feel like the puff stuff is cooling down now, but like the thing that's like really irritating... And I'm not gonna bring anything up because like I don't have anything again. Like I have a whole thread of people sharing stuff, but I don't have it sorted. But
Here, chat, I'm allowed to make my opinions known because I didn't get to talk on the stream.
You didn't get to talk about it.
I was a little offended because I wasn't there for the stream, but I would have really liked to be there.
Yeah.
I think the Lollipop girls really should have shut up. That was my like hot take. Some of the stuff they said made them look really bad, and it's very important when you're in a fight like that that you don't immediately like swing as low as possible, and a lot of them were swinging as low as possible. And I get it because some of them are in like shit situations and some of them are in very emotional states. Yeah, I know one of them is pregnant and they have people saying stuff about their kid, and to that like degree I understand it, but you have to understand when you're online a lot of people aren't going to have all that different context, and you genuinely do have to be the bigger person if you want to walk away looking like the bigger person.
Yeah. No,
you can't just swing low and assume everybody's going to be on your side.
Yeah, I talked about that with a couple of them because like obviously they came on the podcast, we talked to them, and I was like, listen, you can't do this. You can't do this because nobody's going to have sympathy for you, because obviously there's going to be people, I know some of you will probably still have sympathy for them, but like a lot of people will not have sympathy for you if you are asking for life ruination. And I told Bambi, and I told a couple of the others, I was like, listen, this is life ruination. What you are asking for is for somebody to lose their income and their money. I know it sucks that they're asking for it to happen to you, but this is not how you get justice. What you do is, if they actually make life threats, or if they actually say things that are like tangible, report them. And that's it. Don't ask for people to go on reporting campaigns because that's against the rules too. And it's just like, listen, calm down, cool down. The longer you play, the longer they will come back. And I honestly think that if they didn't do that, it probably would have died down faster. I don't know. What do you think?
Also, in the future, if you're gonna make like a lolly specific group, you have to be prepared for the hate.
You do.
Because this happens every single time, and every single time the group isn't prepared for it. And it's like, at this point, I just think you're all stupid. Like, genuinely, I don't know how you guys don't see, like this hate happens.
Yeah.
You know?
And again, it doesn't matter if people deserve or doesn't deserve it. This is not how you make goodwill. Like, this is not how you get goodwill. Again, here the way that I look at it is, it doesn't matter if it's somebody that you don't like and I might not like. It shows me that you're willing to bark at somebody, and that's dangerous. You can correct me if I'm wrong about that, Mizu, but that's just dangerous. And it erodes trust with people that you trust, because then they're not sure where that goes. Am I right or am I wrong here? Please correct me if I'm wrong. It worries me whenever somebody says, whenever somebody that you think is on your side is like.
All I'm saying is how it looks to other people.
Yes.
I'm not making any comments about what is or isn't good, because I think that gets into too many weeds and we could sit here and discuss that for hours.
Fair enough.
I'm saying when they go low and you go lower, or at least as low as them, you're not helping your case in the wider public perception.
Pretty much. No, yeah, you know what? I couldn't say it better myself.
This is about, if you want to be a content creator, you have to consider wider public perception, and a lot of people just don't. And they're just like, I could just fight with whoever I want. And that's not how that works.
Nope. Nope. I would much rather people block, move on. And yeah. Yep. But yeah. We obviously hope that they are able to recover. I definitely gave some words of wisdom to all of them, and I hope that they can heal.
Anyways, are you ready to torture everybody?
I am, yes. It's been almost an hour, chat. If you came to watch the video, it's time. We'll watch this, and then if we feel like it afterwards, we have another video that we can watch that was sent about Nikkei characters that might be funny.
The Nikkei one is Akko's suggestion.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna mute the fantasy lo-fi music here. And
right back, the dog is whining.
We can just start now.
I'm gonna let you do the start and stopping.
Okay, sounds good. Alright, chat. Your exit, if you are not wanting to be tortured, is right now. Oh, what the heck? Why is it muted? Why is it not starting?
What do you mean? Can you not click it?
No, it's not clicking for me. Can you click it?
Akko's always causing problems.
Listen, it won't work for me. What the heck? Why am I not hearing it? Hold on a moment. It's not like...
Bottom right, where the adjust volume is.
There it goes. Alright, perfect.
Now try and click it yourself.
Flow to see who gets the honor.
Why is it not playing? It's not okay, yeah, you have to do it, because it won't let me unpause.
I even gave you, like, moderator privileges.
It won't let me... Alright.
Chat, could you believe Akko's like this?
No, literally, I'm clicking it, and it's not
Fine, I'll click it. You tell me when you need me to stop.
Flow to see who gets the honor of ruining media for everyone else. Will it be the lovers of wholesome media who will sanitize the edges off everything and everyone until we're all watching nice baby-faced golden boys give speeches about friendship like a youth pastor in a pastel gay conversion camp? Or will it be the lovers of darkfic who will wash the world in sinful bloody degeneracy like you've released a Catholic priest in a preschool, or a weeb in a preschool, or a conservative politician in a preschool, or a guy with a rifle in an American preschool?
This sounds like amazing anime plots. I'll be honest with you.
Gonna be honest, even I don't know where I'm going with this. I just started typing and opinions came out. Okay, so Fandom's always had this problem where...
Okay, so that's something you haven't seen too much, Lily, so you probably don't know that. Lily comes from the quit and review school of, if I just start, like, dumping my shitty political opinions in a video, then, like, all the better for it. So they'll have, like, these random tangents where they just go on a bit like, conservatives want to hurt children, anime fans want to hurt children. Like, what? And yeah, again, the irony that Lily says this, given the current allegations against them and their previous fanfics. Like, my god, this is groundbreaking satire. I wish it was satire.
Lily loves her preschools? Oh gosh. No. Please tell me that's a joke.
Where everyone is different and has different opinions on everything, but they're also insular and all feel increasingly entitled to be agreed with. While discourse often gets dressed up with academic-sounding terms like media literacy and purity culture, and these terms have tangible meanings, there are also terms that are easy to weaponize as a more objective-sounding phrase for someone who just disagreed with you. See, this is the real problem of progressive language politics. Because we made it an instant mortal sin to call someone the R-word, the raging Cotton Hills of the world just appropriated academic-sounding language to call someone the R-word, but in a glittery way with fireworks arranged as skull emojis. Yeah, slurs like the R-word are vile, but there are advantages to just having terrible people openly identify as such up front, so you could just avoid or do something about them from the get-go. Because when someone bitches about the death of media literacy, there's a whole checklist to go through to see if that person actually has a real point to make, or if they just have a Nebula subscription and an ego.
So, did you follow any of that?
Not really. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. I mean, it's media literacy, but I
could see chat immediately is confused because they were going back and forth on it. Their point was that people who say you don't have media literacy or other, like, academic terms really just want to call you a retard. But they can't say that you're a retard because that's a bad word now. So they say you don't have media literacy or some other academic term. But then you get, like, she loops back around at the end of it. Because you would think that she is on the side that just wants to say that people don't have media literacy, because that's literally something she does. But then she immediately goes, but we should just allow people to say the R word, because that way they identify themselves as being bad people immediately. And it's like, what?
I don't think that's
and
how
yes,
this
chat,
works.
it's one of those things where Lily is technically not wrong. I think, but it's one of those things where I think most people know that. Most people know that the people that say you don't have media literacy just want to call you stupid, but feel like they can't say that. Because that sounds an awful lot like they just want to say the N-word. Yeah, a little bit.
It's not really how that works.
But yeah, chat's kind of on it, is that it's hard to, like, actually find what the point is whenever they're speaking. That's why nobody watches these videos.
Here's my fan remote.
Imagine having a remote.
I do.
Imagine having a fan.
Ooh.
Yeah, but your AC works, doesn't it?
Do you have air conditioning?
Yeah.
I don't.
Unlike British people.
I'm talking to a British person right now, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sucks to be them.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay.
No shade to Nebula, but people who watch smart YouTubers often like to think that automatically makes them smart as well, and it just doesn't. This has been the backbone of media discourse since the early days of YouTube. It used to be people would whine about, you're stating something as fact, when it's really your opinion. Of course, anyone with two brain cells to rub together already knows that subjectivity is implied in media discourse. But it didn't matter to that guy. That guy heard an opinion he didn't like, and he got mad about it. YouTubers used to have to pepper their videos with near-constant reassurances about subjectivity. On the
Here's the thing, again, in that, like, I can actually agree with them on this, in that when when somebody's making like a video analyzing something, it should be pretty obvious that it's mostly their opinion. It's not like you have to factually hate this show because it's factually bad, factually speaking. Like it should be fairly obvious it's an opinion. However, Lily Orchard literally will do that. Like, go into it and be like, I can sort of see that, chat. Subjectivity is not implied. I think most of the time it is implied.
It depends.
Yeah, I think most people can pick apart like when something is subjective or when something is objective, right? So like if I say the pacing of this show is bad, typically people will recognize that's an objective statement. That because pacing is something you can measure to a degree. But if I say, I think the art style is bad, most people should pick up on the I think and realize that was a subjective statement about how the show looks. Where have I heard the name Lily Orchard before? Was she involved with something stupid? There's too many different situations where you could have heard the name. We're not going to get into all of them again.
No. It was at the beginning of the podcast. You can rewatch the beginning after we're all done here, but she did the Steven Universe breakdown shit.
But my thing is, this is a point where I can sort of agree with them, but then I have to also recognize that you were the person that goes around saying everybody is objectively wrong for not sharing your opinion. So it's very much like a pot calling kettle black situation.
The off chance that we wouldn't have to deal with someone throwing a screeching shit fit in our comment section. We don't do that anymore because it never worked, and the kind of drooling simpleton who had the shit fit in the first place has only gotten drowned out in the noise of short-form social media. We've all accepted that you can't be reasonable with an inherently unreasonable person. But over the years, as fandom has become more tribalistic, less intelligent, and more insular,
do they have to include all of the shows in the background? Because like I feel like it's so random, but it's there because they know that their audience will not stick around if there isn't something there.
Oh no, I agree. I watched through this before, and I was trying to pick out like a method to the shows being picked, but I genuinely I couldn't figure it out. Like even stuff they were saying, it didn't feel like the characters were doing it, so you couldn't even get them on that. So I'm like, is this an opinion you have about this show? Do you feel like this clip demonstrates what you're talking about? Like, I don't know why you're picking these shows. Other than to say you had all these shows in the background. Oh, I would say that it probably is the same concept behind when you see somebody talking on like a news program, and behind them they just so happen to have their entire bookshelf filled with tons of books they've totally read before. I think that's kind of the same idea with this. She's showing you all of these shows she's totally watched and totally given a ton of thought to, so you know they're like a legitimate media critic because they've seen like the whole spectrum of stuff. When in reality I don't think they've watched like half the shit in the background, to be honest.
I mean, Lily probably has. Probably.
No, there's a ton of stuff they show that I'm like, you didn't watch this show.
You don't think so?
I know you didn't watch this show.
Well, even though I know this show is shit, I'm pretty sure they watched it.
The one before this was Spy X Family.
Oh yeah, probably not.
There's a couple other ones like that I'm like, I know you didn't watch that show.
Has cropped up, and that's the debate over wholesome media versus dark media. Well, I say debate, but it's more like two people in different bedrooms posting Twitter rants about how the other guy is totally not capable of handling the real world. And to an extent, I can see the tumor of an idea forming in their head, but that's the problem. It's a tumor. So the argument in one direction is that people who consume only wholesome, friendly media want their fiction to be a warm blanket. Someone who seeks escapism and only escapism in all its forms. People who view dark or violent content as inherent flaws. It's certainly easy to see how that stereotype formed. The fan bases for the bigger wholesome shows about love and friendship turned out to be
nothing wholesome about either of those
shows. With the fan base
for
My Little Pony or Steven Universe long enough.
Well, no, that's their point, is that the two of the most like wholesome shows of the last year turned out to be like the biggest hives of scum and villainy you've ever seen. And it's kind of the point of the people that like this type of media turn out to be like really dark under the surface kind of thing. Even then, I still don't really understand what their point is, because they kind of just like flip on that so quick.
And you'll have a horror story eventually. What was your favorite brony controversy? The child they harassed for saying they're cringe, the child they harassed for saying they're cringe, or the child they harassed for saying they're cringe? How about the time a child predator was outed? Or the time a child predator was outed? Or the time a child predator was outed? How about the trans woman they harassed for talking about their abuse? Or the trans woman they harassed for talking about that? Wait, hang on, that was me, wasn't it? What was your...
You see that drop, that little drop in there?
No!
that little just ding in there. Oh wait, that was me. Yeah, sure, that's what it was. It's really funny that they're like, the time they were out as a child predator, the time they were out as a child predator, and then they include themselves on the next one, the time they harassed a trans woman. Oh, that was me. Oh. Why did they harass you, Lily? Would you like to tell the class? Was it because of Stockholm? And you see how they phrase Stockholm is talking about their trauma? Is that what Stockholm was, Lily? It was your trauma. Would you like to tell us about that? Oh, it's just so funny. That's why I had to like give you some of the down low information earlier today, because some of the stuff they say is not nearly as funny without the context.
No, yeah, it's...
And they are one of those people that will constantly bring this stuff up over and over again, hoping that nobody provides the context in the comments. And somebody always does.
Yeah, I would hate to live a life like that, hoping that nobody knows my backstory or my past. It's just like... I hope you don't talk about this one time where I did this thing, and at that point, just don't be on the internet.
Yeah. Just leave. Go get help.
What's your favorite controversy in the Steven Universe fandom? That time they harassed an artist for drawing skinny Rose and then went really quiet when the creator did it? That time they harassed a Make-A-Wish kid for posting about an episode they got to see early? Or the time they spent half a decade making up a lie about how the reputation of the series was ruined because a video criticizing the show got popped? Wait, hang on, that was
Oh my gosh, why did you do that again?
Yeah.
This video sounds so self-serving. How are they gonna bring it back to themselves again?
All of their content is super self-serving. Don't worry, every like point they make will come back around to them. Every time. On like the one hand, I give them that people constantly in like the Steven Universe fandom say that their video destroyed the entire series' reputation. And that's just because they're desperate to have like a fall guy. And they don't want to target somebody bigger with a fandom that won't take that. So like somebody in the comments earlier mentioned that E:R did a video on Steven Universe making fun of it. They will never say that he ruined its reputation because they know they can't take his fan base. They know that his fan base would shit all over them every day of the week and they wouldn't be able to take it.
Thing is, I'm not sure I'd blame the behavior of these fan bases on the fact that they only want escapism. Bronies were a cross-section of weebs and fascists, while Steven Universe always reeked of consumption-based
Weebs and
progressivism.
fascists?
Yes.
Is that just because furries are full of weird Nazi shit?
No, bronies.
Yeah, I know, but like bronies are kind of like a subset of furries almost.
But think about like how I mentioned this earlier, how they'll like drop in their weird little bizarre political opinions. It's not that just like the brony community had some bad apples in it that were kind of weird. It's the brony community was filled with weebs and fascists. It's like, fucking what? Would you like to explain?
It will never be explained.
And then Steven Universe's fandom is bad because it's filled with progressive obsessed with consumption. What I think she's trying to say is like progressives that are like hyper-capitalist, maybe? I'm not 100% sure what she means, progressives obsessed with consumption.
That doesn't work.
But it's one of those things where it's like, what are you saying exactly? Like, genuine question. What is your argument here?
Progressives hate money, though. At least they pretend to.
And Steven Universe didn't really have, like, merch and stuff. Like, you've never really seen a Steven Universe toy. There
was occasionally the backpack and the shirt, but, like, that was really about it.
I doubt they made, like, that much money off those.
It wasn't like the backpack. Isn't, like, his backpack like a hamburger or some shit?
Cheeseburger, get it right.
Yeah. Whatever, but, like... Steven Universe was bad from the start, saying that claiming to have destroyed the series is low-hanging fruit at this point. Yeah. No, yeah. That's the thing, is, like... you can have a right opinion, but it doesn't mean that you are right. It just means that you somehow aligned with me on one thing. Oh, there's a lot of stupid people out there like that, chat, and you could probably name them in the comments.
We talked about this mostly off stream, chat, but there's plenty of times where Lily is right, but they're right in the sense that if somebody who's an absolute idiot walks outside and says the sky is blue is right. It doesn't mean they're right about everything. That doesn't mean that they made like a super in-depth observation. It just means that they have eyes. And a lot of times with Lily, that's what they're correct about. They just have eyes. And even then, sometimes you're left questioning if they do or don't.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of wholesome media skews progressive because treating people with kindness is, unfortunately, now a political position. And when these shows skew progressive in presentation, it attracts an audience that wants progressive media. The problem is that the media and the creators aren't perfect and are subject to criticism, and the audience are using that media as a proxy replacement for their own virtues. Hold on to this, we're going to come back to it later.
By the way, just so we're clear, they just said that being kind to people is specifically a progressive trait. But they skipped over the fact that My Little Pony is literally called Friendship is Magic and is a show all about friendship, and they said that it attracts fascists. So which is it? Is kindness and sincerity a progressive thing, or did My Little Pony have a massive segment of its community that were fascists? Which means that fascists actually also like kindness and friendship.
It just doesn't work because I've seen there are people on both sides of the political spectrum that liked My Little Pony, so it's almost like you can't use that as an example.
Yeah. It's just funny that they use those two back to back, and it's like, did you think about this point when you made it? Did you, like, reread your script back?
Obviously not.
Later. So when you basic reality of discourse and critical thinking, fans who wrap themselves in a duvet to avoid any real personal growth will increasingly feel attacked and get increasingly aggressive. Never was this more apparent to me than with Steven Universe, where I criticize it maybe once every 2 years and you'd swear I murdered the fanbase's dog. They have an entire mythology that I ruined the reputation of a show and the creator, which is just an obvious lie. Steven Universe is rated on IMDb at 8.2 out of 10. On Google, it's rated a 4.7 stars out of 5.
Why do we need to go over this?
Per episode were higher than any other.
Because you need to know, Akko, that Lily Orchard did not ruin Steven Universe, and if you want to be mean to them, that you shouldn't do that, because they didn't ruin Steven Universe.
Steven Universe went... Okay, so they had how many seasons? 4 seasons. 5 seasons. And the last season only had 4... Holy shit. Did Steven's Universe, like, have massive, like, hiatuses or some shit?
So you can see sort of at the top there, it says Steven Bomb. Cartoon Network started doing this weird thing where they would dump 5 episodes of Steven Universe in 1 week, back to back to back every day.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday would get episode 1, Tuesday would get episode 2, and so on. And for a while, that was how they were releasing seasons, or episodes. I don't really follow, like, how they had it separated out correct necessarily. And I don't know how much of this is Steven Universe future, or if any of this is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was not the best. What you need to take away from this is the Steven Bomb episodes are almost the only important ones.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that are actually highlighted in colors, about 30 episodes are actually relevant to the plot. Everything else you could almost call filler. Almost.
That's a lot.
Wait,
of filler
so
versus
like the first
primary content.
The first half of season 1 and like the second half of season 2 is all filler. Wow.
Basically, it's just them doing like Monster of the Week stuff, and it's not really them making any progress. Steven Universe sucks. Like, I'm obviously being a little hyperbolic because there's like some sprinkles of important content within that, but the point of the Steven bombs was for them to do like to jump the plot forward. So every Steven bomb was 5 important episodes in a row, and then everything else was kind of whatever.
Other cartoon released that decade, with the exception of Teen Titans Go. I never tarnished its reputation. Steven Universe is universally beloved, but we all know how that goes. We've seen Zelda fans throw a fucking shit fit over a 7 out of 10 review. We know 8.2 isn't good enough for a work that is treated like the second coming of Jesus. Anything less than a perfect 10 out of 10 isn't good enough. Truth is,
I don't know.
see a lot
Tears
of
of the
people
Kingdom was
criticizing
good, but it
Steven
wasn't the
Universe.
second
I
coming
see
of Jesus.
a hell of a lot of people having screaming shit fits about criticism of Steven Universe, but I sure as fuck don't see criticism on the scale we did 6 years ago, because the fan base harassed everybody into silence. But when your entire worldview revolves around a show from 10 years ago being treated unfairly because you had to suffer the indignity of knowing people who don't agree with you exist, yeah, you probably will think it was treated unfairly.
Any comments about any of that?
No, not really.
I don't know if you noticed with this green chick, but her like proportions keep changing wildly.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Like, nothing in this show is consistent at all. And I know it's just like the shitty art. Well, not shitty, because it's not horrible, obviously. But like with how inconsistent it is, because like obviously Rebecca Sugar doesn't do all the animation. They send it to a Korean or Chinese company to do.
No, it's, believe it or not, it's still Rebecca Sugar's fault. Rebecca Sugar refused to make character sheets. She said that the varied proportions added to the show's charm, so she never wanted to have specific sizes or proportions for any of the characters.
That's so dumb. What is she doing now, Rebecca Sugar? Is she doing anything of worthwhile?
I don't know. Honestly.
Hopefully not. I mean, like, Cartoon Network is basically dead now, so it's like it doesn't matter.
Because, like, I don't want to put, like, too much shit on the animation studio they were sending it to, because she was literally refusing to give them character sheets, because she thought that them being inconsistent was a part of the charm. And it's like, that's not really how that works. It just makes every episode look weird.
It's kind of like the similar thing when you look at, like, Sonic Adventure 2. Where you have the Master Emerald being massive, and then the size of a normal emerald. In mere seconds. There's no consistency.
Yeah, it's just most noticeable with this Peridot girl, who consistently goes from being as the same size or shorter than Steven to being twice his height.
No, you're right.
Just at complete random.
Oh, I'm like getting images back of that, because like, again, when I watched reviews for this show, because I liked listening to people shit on shit, I used to see pictures like, why is this girl always changing?
She was the worst offender, and she's the one that really made people realize and start asking questions about what was wrong with, like, the proportions. So Rebecca Sugar had to come out and be like, yeah, we don't actually do character sheets because the variation is part of our charm.
And that's like, that's fine.
Like, not really.
Kind
it
of.
just looks weird.
Like, if you're fine with that art style, fine, but it's gonna mess up a lot of people.
Yeah. And it probably gave a lot of people the same impression that you had, where it's like, man, that studio just didn't give a shit. It's like, no, the studio just didn't receive anything.
I mean, that was what I thought. It was just like, bro, I understand that like the art style is a little wonky, but whose fault was this?
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, if I was the studio, I'd be like, I don't know if we can keep doing this if you're not gonna, like, give us some consistency, because people are starting to look at us like we're doing a shit job.
Yeah.
And we're just doing what you're asking.
No, it's like when when you work for Amazon and somebody gets a package and it looks like shit. Who are you gonna blame? Are you gonna blame the guy that packed it, or the guy that passed it along the row, or the people that probably tossed it like a football? No, you're gonna blame the guy that delivered it, because he's the last guy that you see. You're not thinking about everybody else. You're thinking about the people who made it or like brought the end product to you.
Also, holy cow, the amount of short height Peridot and not safe for work is insane. Yeah, for some reason, a lot of people really wanted to fuck Peridot. There's entire, like, hentai animations specifically just for her. I don't know.
It's really scary how much not safe for work content there is of kids show characters.
Well, we talked
Peridot
about that.
specifically. Out of everybody in Steven Universe, everybody wanted to fuck Peridot, and I'll never really understand why.
I don't
what the draw was.
because I don't see the appeal.
Well,
People
again,
loved her though. There's more porn of her than any other character in Steven Universe by a long shot. She didn't even show up till over halfway through the show's runtime.
and again, Temp, we talked about this before you came on, but it's just like the Western cartoons like this are just like Lolly and Shota in Japan.
Yeah.
The only difference is that over here, Western people don't care because it's their cartoons, it's their
Western.
stuff.
I actually, I don't know. Maybe you'll agree with me on this. Maybe you won't. It's the same difference between Sony censoring Japanese stuff, but going hog wild on Western stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Nashi sent me a nice reference sheet. I'm gonna hide the screen. I'm gonna open this up for you, chat, because this looks absolutely fucking abysmal.
What are we seeing?
It's in general chat. Wow. Hang on a moment.
Yeah, no, like they did not know what the fuck they were doing with her.
All right, let me switch back.
I don't like that art style. That's so bad.
You like anime, so that's the problem.
Well, I like even silly art styles, but this is just why?
It's hard to put into words. I'm glad tonight, chat, that we're teaching Akko about a lot of different things.
That's typically what happens because I'm the uncultured one here.
Despite my
I'm
my
trying,
anime
man.
obsession, I know an awful lot about Western stuff. Her head got bigger and her body got smaller through those. Yeah, they kept like upping the size of the Dorito. I don't know why. Do you want to continue, Akko?
Yep.
Let me know when you got it pulled back up.
It is pulled back up.
Because anything less than godlike worship is unfair in your eyes. And when you're a fandom-brained moron who thinks consumption is activism and your leftism is tied up entirely in consuming the correct products, you will think any contradicting opinion must come from a... What phrase did that child left behind say?
The obvious bad faith, unironically everything phobic.
I think this is included by Lily.
Really?
Because otherwise, your idea of yourself is going to be cracked in some way.
Oh
And we
my
all know how
gosh, this
people who
art
use
style.
fandom as a
Here's
wallpaper
another
for
thing
their
that
noxious personality-
on Steven Universe, none of it's consistent. Like the characters are different, the backgrounds are different. Because like I know with American cartoons, even if the backgrounds are like shaded differently because of how the animation works, there's consistency with the animation. None of this is consistent. What the hell?
Yeah, chat, it's anytime you watch a Lily Orchard video, it's so hard to like not agree with some of the stuff they're saying because they always go after really low-hanging fruit. So you have like this innate desire in your body to be like, yeah, they're right, this show's shit. And then you have to sit down and think for a second. You're like, the show's shit, but so is the person that's talking about how shit it is. Like
yeah, the sky is blue, and you're also a stupid person.
yeah. You have to like actively fight against your instinct to agree with them because the fruit they choose is so low hanging it's hard not to.
Almost moldy.
personalities get when they have to confront reality. This is the core reason why social media, especially short-form social media, is just so nasty all the time, because narcissism like this is born from insecurity, and any contradicting opinion wounds an easily wounded ego.
By the way, when they say short-form media, especially very short-form media, I think we all know they're talking about Twitter.
Just say microblogging.
They mean Twitter, though. We all know they mean Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're talking about the average Twitter user, you have to also...
There it is. Since we're talking about the average Twitter user, they couldn't just like let it go. They had to be like, it's Twitter.
Content with the fact that their mothers dropped them on their heads as infants. So they'll hear a contradicting opinion, not like it, not be smart enough to argue against it, and fall back on circular non-arguments, fishing buzzwords out of a bag until they find one that makes that person shut up. The only reason you see this attitude with wholesome media over dark media is because oftentimes the wholesome media is the one that takes objectively correct stances about the world, like freedom is good and gay people are rad and all Nazis should die. And so people...
They didn't kill the Nazi, though. In fact, like, the Nazi got off with it. Like, I don't know.
Didn't they hug the Nazi until they stopped being evil?
Yeah. I mean, you criticized the show for this. Why would you use that as your example? I also hate that, like, they're like, good media takes objectively correct stances. Like, like, freedom is good. It's like, no, these shows take easy stances. That doesn't necessarily mean they're correct stances. Like, it's super, super easy for somebody to say, all freedom is good, everybody should be free. That's very easy to say. But then you go, okay, well, what do we do about people who abuse that freedom?
Mm-hmm.
And those shows don't answer those questions because they're not prepared to. These shows aren't taking like these hard-hitting questions that are just objectively correct. They're taking general ideas that most people can agree with and not like stuff they don't have to examine. Because you can say you should be nice to everybody, and everybody's going to be like, "Oh, that's such a good thought process. I think we should be nice to everybody." It's like, okay, well, what do you do when somebody's being like, as we talked about earlier, a Nazi? What do you do then? Do you still just be nice to everybody?
No, you ignore them.
But we learned from the other show that you should always be nice to everybody. Like, I hate this opinion that people have about, like, these comfy shows. It's like, there's nothing wrong with having these nice general messages, but there's a reason people are becoming more and more aware of toxic positivity, and that just being mindlessly positive about things isn't necessarily good, and it's not necessarily a good way to look at the world.
Mm-hmm.
People for whom consumption is activism tend to gravitate toward it, but they'd be doing this regardless of the media. It's just that a lot of dark content is a lot more difficult to virtue signal with. You could make an argument that by watching a cartoon with good messages, I am inherently doing good. It would be bullshit and the height of how our values are shaped to serve capitalism at the end of the day, but you could try to do it.
Yeah.
And it's easy to watch.
No, you're good at it. With that line of thinking, if you put Donald Trump in front of Steven's universe, automatically they would have to agree with him. You're not right, though.
Fair. Yeah. Shows are basically preaching virtues with no substance. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. That's why nobody tunes into them.
Yeah, like it's a good message for kids. But the thing is, when you become an adult, if you still take these shows' messages at face value, you need some growing up. Because the real world is not that simple.
Want to do it because binge watching is easy and thinking about what you consume is difficult. Conversely, why don't you try and make a leftist position, no matter how bullshit it is, out of the human centipede?
Fun fact, the human centipede is actually a leftist artwork.
Is it?
It's supposed to be some bullshit about, like, the nature of human consumption and how, like, I forget what all the director said, but it was basically like he said he was sticking his thumb up at the conservative and the conservative like cabal in Hollywood, which has never existed, by the way.
No, it's not been conservative ever.
I mean, I think it was during the Red Scare, but after that, it kind of like course corrected hard the other way. But no, like, it's funny that they bring this one up, because if you actually go to look up the director, he actually does, I'm pretty sure, say that the entire thing is like a leftist political message sticking his thumb up at conservatives. So it's like, I mean, you gotta chose a bad one, in my opinion.
That's what I thought. That doesn't mean people don't try, however, and in fact, we just went over it. See, people who prefer cozy, wholesome media and who need to make their consumption into activism tend to be extremely aggressive about criticism or discourse because they're not very bright, and their ego is tied to something that's usually deeply flawed. So it's easy to draw a line between the two and claim, well, you're like this because you've wrapped yourself in a duvet of escapism and can't contend with the real world. Unlike me, who reads the most decadent filth imaginable and am therefore more well-adjusted and mature and able to exist in the real world. Until you tell them it's weird that they're beating it to a story about a guy being psychologically battered by his sister, then they'll screech about fiction versus reality like a
They're talking about Andy and Lele, by the way. This comes up later, but
I
they're
really
they're specifically bashing Coffin of Andy and Lele.
I really wish Lumi was here. Oh my
like to point
gosh.
out, again, this is funny because this is the person that wrote Stockholm. And they're like, oh, it's super weird that you're, like, getting off to the Coffin of Andy and Lele. Didn't you write the My Little Pony rape fic about her having incestuous sex with their daughter? Pot meat kettle, bro. I don't know what to tell you, honestly.
Yeah.
weeb caught in a pre. Despite the differences in behavior and stated intent, the same fundamental problem exists in both of those people. For as much as one might claim that their tastes in media don't say anything about them as a person, they both...
Also, I'm gonna roll back real quick. I have never heard somebody that likes the more darker content say that them liking darker content makes them more well-adjusted and mature. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The content I watch defines me tends to be a much more prominent thing with the comfy creators. The people watching the dark content are typically more open about the fact that just, no, I just like it and I don't care what you think about it. Like,
well, here's the thing, and I'm looking at like the people I know and the people I've met. Like, we consume different kinds of content based off of the experiences around us, and I would say that the childhood that we build really defines like how we look at those. Like, if you talk to Temp about what I like to read or what I like to portray, sometimes it's very dark and very sad, and that's just based off of how I grew up and what I like, how I internalize things, and it's interesting to me. Now, am I gonna go do any of those things that I write about? Absolutely not. But like, it's, I won't call it a coping mechanism, but it's just like, that's just how my brain is wired, man.
yeah. Somebody in chat said, I think I've heard 15-year-olds think that when they watch Berserk. Yeah, but like, we're talking about adults.
Yeah,
You
Lily
don't
is
really
a fully
hear that among adults.
Lily is a fully grown adult that I'm pretty sure lives on their own.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where they're trying to pull the both sides are just as bad, and it's like, okay, but does the other side actually exist? Because that's always, if this was true, yes, both sides would be equally bad. But does the other side actually exist? Can you point me to a substantial group of people on the other side actually doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Because they never can. There's no, like, mass group of people that are acting this way with dark media. It's just not something that normally happens.
Mm-hmm.
Want their taste in media to say positive things about them. The guy jacking it to the cement garden will also turn around and screech about the Puritans and purity culture and aunties and prudish puritanical American values. So it's clear on some level
I
they
will.
think consumption is activism.
I don't actually know what that movie is. By the
That's
way.
not what that means. It's clear on some level they think consumption is activism. No, it's clear on some level they're aware that other people are being active against them. That doesn't mean, like, you are into activism. I have no desire to be an activist, but I
Me neither.
have to because people are constantly trying to get the shit I like banned. that doesn't mean I recognize that my anime games are some level of activism. I'm just aware that a bunch of people hate them and want them banned from purchase.
Yeah. See, chat, here's the difference. I don't want my video games to be like ultra far right conservative shit, because that wouldn't be fun either. I want my games to be the way that they're intended to be, fun. Not like, I don't want shit on any side, because both sides suck. Both sides like censor to insane degrees. It's just different how they do it. Only insane people jerk off to concrete? Well, I have no idea what the movie's about, so I couldn't tell you.
I choose not to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Completely
either.
different behaviors and attitudes, but have them come from the same place. And the truth is, regardless of the media in question, hardcore fans who make media their entire identity will always try and make their media consumption into something higher and more important than it actually is. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to justify
Is it only
spending so
for
much time on it.
censorship?
This isn't new. Just
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They'll say they aren't, but then they'll immediately pull shit like this. It'll get more relevant towards the end.
10 years ago, during the villain redemption boom, there were people arguing that sympathizing with villains and pushing for redemption was a sign of being really empathetic, and how if you don't like villain redemptions, it's a symptom of Catholic purity culture. Oh, did you not sympathize with the 800th Zuko clone? That is deeply troubling, Sweaty. People online have been trying to make consumption into a personality for as long as there has been an online. And it's not that it's gotten worse, it's just gotten more visible since online communities moved off isolated forums and into the short-form cesspit that is Twitter. And Twitter is like if 4chan got drowned in corporate branding. We can argue about how
I
you
disagree.
can't make a judgment on someone
I
based on
disagree. Twitter is what happened when Tumblr got banned.
Yeah.
Like, if Tumblr didn't get banned, it would be way more normal.
media taste, but the people who say that often then try and make those same judgments about themselves. And the thing is, you can judge someone on their media tastes. If someone told me their favorite film was Birth of a Nation, I'd get as far away from that person as possible, because that's a Nazi I'm talking to. But you can't do that in the milquetoast swamp that is the PG-TV to M-rated game family zone. That's where media is just not on the same level. Everything is sanitized and watered down, even if it claims to be the dark, gritty, violent, toxic Yuri you've always wanted. It's just not. You guys remember last year when Twitter practically blew up over the coffin of Andy and Lele, with people who hadn't played it thinking it was like the Human Centipede had angry, violent sex with flowers in the attic, and its fans were waggling their tongues over how transgressive and boundary-pushing and not for the Puritans it was? Then someone took time to actually play it, and inside it was a really milquetoast story about a guy being psychologically abused by someone who looks and acts like she still has LiveJournal in 2024. With the way people were talking, you'd probably expect something
See, this is, and they bring up the whole issue, but they completely misdiagnose who's saying what. And I see this problem a lot in like all kinds of dark content spaces. Is they're like, oh, they were pushing it as like this deeply transgressive thing. No, the people who were into it were not pushing it as this deeply transgressive thing. They were pushing it as normal and not that bad. You can look up anybody who is supporting it, and almost every single one of them is, yeah, it's really not that bad. It's normal. There was constantly people talking about how the incest was just the one bad end, and it really wasn't a massive part of the game, and it was there for like 10 seconds, and it really didn't exist.
Yeah, unironically, when I watched Lumi play it, I was like, have you gotten to the incest yet? And she's like, no, that's multiple hours in. And I was like, well, I feel let down.
Yeah.
Makes me want to play it now, though.
But then they'll say all this stuff about it, and it's like, no, you're reading the wrong side. You're looking at it, you're reading the people who are like the comfy people. They're the ones saying that this game is deeply transgressive and needs to be banned. The dark people aren't saying that.
Yeah.
God damn it.
utterly shameless, that threw off all societal taboos and screamed, "Look at me!" But it was actually weirdly insecure, too afraid of its own content to go further than the same kind of jokes people have been making about siblings for years, dressed up in 2020's dark fic with a weirdly noir aesthetic. About the only unique thing it did was it accurately reflected the suffocating mundanity of an abusive relationship, and it does so by being so boring you feel like you're in purgatory. It was quite literally a nothing burger, the video game equivalent of a 14-year-old boy saying shocking and offensive things to make his parents gasp. What little artistic merit it had was buried under duck faces and kitty mouths. I don't think many people have taken notice of this, in that a lot of the media being championed as dark, transgressive taboo is actually quite toothless, banking on there being a bunch of people performatively expressing their outrage and a bunch of other sadder people performatively
I don't
hyping
think
it up
that's
because
true.
the target.
I don't think the person who made the Coffin of Andy and Lele wanted those death threats and wanted to be chased off of the internet. I think they just wanted to make a game and tell a story, and it was up to you to interpret it. And they weren't asking for all of the hatred that they got. I don't know, chat. Do you think that the creator of the game wanted that? I don't. I think that's pretty
Yeah, that's something
retarded
a
to
lot of
think.
people really don't get with like a lot of these kind of games or media in general, and they're like, oh, they really wanted the backlash. It's like, no, most people don't want the backlash. Most people are like, I'm gonna put this out and it's gonna only go to like my followers, it's not gonna leave my circle, and it's gonna be completely fine. And even if that's not necessarily like a logical belief, because like some people should realize that certain content is going to go viral or whatever and piss off certain people, when you're making it, that's not your thought process. It's, I enjoy this, I'm going to put this out to other people who enjoy this, and we're all going to enjoy it together. Yeah, because Lily does it for attention, you can see why Lily might think that. Yeah. It's unironically this weird thought process you can see in their head where they do everything for attention and outrage, so they naturally assume that anyone else who's genuinely making content is also doing it for attention and outrage. And it's like, no, most people don't. Most people just do what they find fun.
No. You can tell when somebody's trying to farm and engage outrage. It never works out this way. Because you can't like artificially get outrage like this to happen. It happens naturally. So I don't know, this is just a retarded take. Really stupid.
Yeah, but that's like my only real point with like their entire video, is they're completely misdiagnosing who's saying what, and they're trying to pull up both sides are just as bad without acknowledging that the other side doesn't exist.
Mostly teenagers, and people who haven't matured past being a teenager. Usually they don't hold up when literally anyone else starts examining it more closely, because it was all supposed to be a maypole for people who still have to yell at their mom to get out of their room. This was the case with the weird true crime soap opera boom. If you're into series...
Was what the video?
I heard a Discord noise, and my Discord is muted. That must have been the video. Sorry, that's just a random... You can go.
Possibly.
Serial killers as a concept, you watch documentaries, but the only reason to watch this shit is, 1, you're attracted to the lead actor, and 2, you're giggling to yourself about how the Twitter Puritans are going to be so mad. This itself...
Yeah, like you hear like what their thought process is, though. The only reason you would want to watch this dark media is if you want to have sex with somebody in it, or you want to piss somebody off.
It's not true.
That's a bizarre like look into their mind and how they engage with content.
So is this telling me that Lily only watches certain content for that reason? That's
basically yes.
Lily...
In their mind, that's the only 2 reasons you would engage with content.
What does that say?
It's if you're engaging with content, you are either doing it for sexual gratification or you are doing it to get attention and piss people off.
What does that say about the book series that you wrote? Why did you write it then? Is it because you want to fuck the pony that you had being like raped, or is it because you or is it because you wanted to piss somebody off? Because I definitely think you pissed people off.
But isn't that just like It's
so
hard to put into
bizarre.
words how like weird of a thought process that is, because I can't imagine watching a show and my only like two thoughts about it are I really want to fuck the main character, or God, the people on Twitter are going to be mad about this one. Like most of the time when I watch any media, I tune out like everything in the world, right? I don't think about anything. I don't think about how people are going to see it. A lot of times I'm not like even really deeply analyzing any of the story beats. I'm just like sitting there and getting lost in the show because I just want to relax. And I can't imagine somebody only watching content for one of those two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it just sounds exhausting.
That's so exhausting. Like, bro, like, I didn't watch Psych because I wanted to fuck the main character or some shit like that. I watched Psych because I like murder mysteries. I didn't watch House because the main actor. I mean, the main actor of House is a nice guy. But like, I watched it because I like murder mysteries. It's just like, bro, people don't think like this. Normal people don't think like this.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when it comes to the lolly stuff, sometimes I play into the lolly stuff because it pisses people off. But like, that's just one tiny thing that I participate in.
Yeah. I think this is another problem that kind of comes up with social media in general, because everybody seems to talk about everything they're doing. But there's, like, for me, I played Elden Ring all day. I didn't live tweet me playing Elden Ring. I didn't constantly tell people about what I was doing in Elden Ring. I sat down by myself and just played a game for like 9 hours. And I can't imagine, like, feeling a need to have somebody acknowledge that I'm playing it and acknowledge what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just too much attention.
Isn't
Way
new.
too
This is the
much.
founding mantra of 4chan, doing extremely off-putting shit to get a rise out of people. And like all of the shit that came after it, 4chan users would write entire dissertations about how behaving this way is actually a completely normal thing to do, and doesn't speak to a deep insecurity and craving for attention and validation. And Twitter, being the bastard child of 4chan, is just that, but bigger.
But it's
this is going to be one of those
not.
videos where I tell you the
It's
blatantly
so
obvious,
wrong.
but you know, I don't think these
It's
two
not
people
the
only like
bastard.
one thing are as well adjusted as they
4chan,
claim.
I'm
Shocking
pretty sure,
revelation.
hates Twitter. Bro, have you ever been on 4? I've barely been on 4chan, but I can tell you right now, it's not Twitter. Is he saying this because Elon Musk decided to buy it?
Basically.
That's not how this works. Excuse me, she. But bro,
I'm not saying engaging with something because you find the main character attractive is wrong.
no, it's not.
I'm saying that if the only reason you watch a show is to try and get sexual gratification out of it, and that apply, keep in mind, this isn't to just one show. We are saying this applies to every single show. Every single show you watch and every single game you play, you are only doing that because either A, you get sexual gratification for it, or B, because of the reaction other people are going to have to it.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying those are the only two reasons you engage in any content. And that just sounds absolutely psychotic to me.
Mm-hmm. 4chan hates everybody that is not 4chan. They also hate 4chan.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4chan constantly does gay ops against each other just for fun. They use Tumblr to get it done.
I know, hot take of the century. The truth is, you're never going to win this argument no matter what side of it you're on, because the argument isn't about anything rational, it's entirely about ego. It's about people who spend too much of their time obsessing over one or two things, getting insecure about how they're spending their time, and viciously lashing out at anything that even slightly looks like it's calling them out for it.
See, here's a thing that it comes up a lot, and I don't think it's just with them. I've heard other people say this, that the only reason people are like playing up these dark content shows is because they're like insecure about enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't think you understand that other groups of people attacked them first. And they're not just defending their right to enjoy it. A lot of times they're defending their spaces. They're defending their right to have a space. They're defending their accounts because they're getting mass reported.
They're getting their space taken away.
Yeah, it's like they aren't defending it because they're insecure about enjoying it. They're defending it because you're trying to take it away from them. You're actively trying to prevent them from engaging in the content they want to enjoy. And you don't see this with comfy content. You don't see people saying, I like Steven Universe, and then immediately getting mass reported. You do see people saying, I like The Coffin of Andy and Lele, and immediately getting mass reported.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I feel like it's intentionally lying about it because they don't like the dark content.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it earlier, but they even put up a little blurb after the Coffin of Andy and Lele thing. They said they did not have any footage of any other dark content series, which tells you that they don't like any of that kind of content. So to them, it's completely okay if all that shit gets shut down. It doesn't bother them. It just annoys me.
Yeah. That's very
Hell,
annoying.
let's go back a decade. Remember 50 Shades of Grey? A story that was marketed as some kind of taboo-pushing kink, but then you actually watch it, and it's just a sexist guy with mommy issues being a sexist guy with mommy issues. And a lot of people were saying this guy was putting off red flags to reach incel territory, and the film was going to set people up for abusive relationships.
I don't know, I don't see many
never
incels
happened.
that are as rich
And
as this guy
of course
was.
it didn't happen. Here's a question for you. How many guys with that level of mommy issues do you know who look like Christian Grey? None. Because in the movie, Christian Grey looks like evil Superman, whereas this kind of guy in real life looks like teenage Snape. People acted like it was gonna slander the BDSM community or give people false ideas about relationships, but the truth is, you're never gonna find a man who is 6'5", rich, muscular, that handsome, who is also suffering crippling, life-destroying trauma that makes them that damaged. Because with the exception of the height, you can't be all those other things while life-destroying trauma is making it impossible for you to get out of bed.
Oh, he's already looped the trailer.
I would also like to point out that they, even in that one spot, they still lied. Like, they can't have any, they can't talk about any dark content, no matter what it is, without sprinkling in lies here and there.
Yeah.
And the one it was they said, people were afraid that it was going to slander the BDSM community. That is not what people were afraid of. The BDSM people were saying it did slander their community because the movie made it look like that it was okay to just force it onto somebody. And they were like, yeah, no, that's not how it works.
No.
It has to be consensual. You have to have safe words. You can't just like be forcing it onto someone. That's not okay. And they were saying, like, we're afraid that people are going to think this is a normal behavior in the BDSM community. When it's not. This kind of stuff is not okay.
No. In fact, in my Twitter roleplay, I've met people like that.
Yeah.
They're very nice. A lot of them are very nice. Very calm and cool. And it definitely, the movie definitely, not just the movie, the book probably really hurt it too. So.
Yeah, Lily can't talk about anything without sprinkling in lies. They can't just be honest about it. They have to, like, because there was no reason for them to bring up the BDSM thing except to just tell a lie about it. That didn't help their argument at all. It didn't matter. They'd already made whatever point they were trying to make. They just threw that in there so they could lie about somebody. It's so weird.
You know, here's my autistic take for tonight. I feel like Lily is somebody that, like, thinks of something. It's like, man, that's a really good thought that I just had. And instead of looking it up to verify if it's true, they're just going to throw it out into a video. Without any form of research. And I feel like you should have to put a disclaimer before anything saying, I did not do any research for this video. These are all my thoughts and speculations.
Yeah.
Abusive delusional women with a brother complex who may or may not have tasted human flesh don't look like this, they look like this. Nobody thinks damaged people are hot. You think hot damaged people are hot. This was the same onus on villain redemptions a long time back. For all the poetic waxing about empathy, that empathy was only ever extended to people they found attractive. And the discussion about if your tastes in media say anything about you is one of gradation. Having one really fucked up book in your book collection doesn't really say anything about you, but having 16 of the bastards definitely does. Conversely, nobody really gives a shit if you liked Steven Universe. We certainly give a shit if your identity is so tied to Steven Universe, you're harassing Make-A-Wish children over it, or making entire mythologies about D-list critics ruining the reputation of a critically acclaimed.
See, here's the thing, right? Where they make a point that can sort of be correct, but then they make another point that's completely false. And it's them saying if your entire life is wrapped around Steven Universe to the point you're going out harassing people, then you need to rethink your life. But they put that on the exact same pedestal as somebody who owns, in their own words, 16 different books that have problematic themes.
And we don't even know
It's
what
like-
those problematic themes are. It's a very...
No, that's just somebody that has 16 books with problematic themes. You're not saying anything about their character or what they're doing. You're saying the fact that they own 16 pieces of media that have problematic themes says something negative about their character to the same degree as somebody who is actively going around attacking people.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you putting those on the same page?
Thank you for the raid, Razor. Welcome. If you're joining us, we're watching...
torturing all of you.
Yes, we're gonna give you some relief after this if Mizu wants to go for it. But right now we're torturing you with Lily Orchard. I hope you enjoy.
You're all welcome.
Claim series. I feel that Twitter has allowed this to become lost to misinformation, but this is what the term weeb originally means. Some people are under the
I
impression...
think it's that time of the night after watching this.
Wait, I gotta scroll back an inch.
Children over it, or making entire mythologies about D-list critics ruining the reputation of a critically acclaimed series. I feel that Twitter has allowed this to become lost to misinformation, but this is what...
She says, this is what weeb really means. And then the original tweet says when a girl says she watches anime, there's a 90% chance this is what she means. And then somebody says, men be like you ain't a real anime fan unless you watch Is It Wrong to Piss on My Bunny Girl Sister's Feet?
What?
What do you mean this is what weeb means? The first one is somebody mocking anime fans, and the second one is somebody just pointing out that a lot of people only watch like the most normie shit imaginable.
If that's what they're saying weeb is, I'm not a weeb anymore. Because no, I'm good.
What do they mean?
I
actually got in this discussion with somebody the other day where somebody's like, I think a lot of weebs don't understand that weeb was an insult to them. It's like, no, a lot of the older ones do. You're probably right that a lot of the younger ones don't. But anybody like over the age of 20, 25 knows that when somebody says weeb, it is intended as an insult. They just don't care.
not anymore.
And actually, I brought this up before. When I was in a trans Discord, a lot of them actually really preferred the word tranny. And I think it actually goes along with the same thing as why a lot of anime fans prefer weeb. It's short, it's catchy, and it sounds kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could say that, oh, you're an otaku, but that's kind of it's very wordy, it's got very hard syllables.
Too much to explain.
Yeah, it just sounds really, like, rough.
Well,
But if you say weeb, it's short, it's cute, it's snappy, most people know what you mean, it works.
Mm-hmm. Another good example is when the word troon came from Something Awful. Like, that was like a term of endearment for trans people in Something Awful. Because it was like a mixture of trans and goon, which was like the Something Awful term. And now it's not.
And when I was in the trans Discord, tranny became very popular because people are like, I could say I'm transgender, but that's very long, that's very wordy. Tranny's cute, it's short, it's snappy.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
And a lot of them, as far as I can tell from that Discord, still use it. They don't use it in public because they know they get shit for it, but they still call each other that in private. Because they're like, it's a nice word, it's cute and it's short and it's snappy.
Are you still in that Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. They don't hate
I don't
you.
leave like any
They haven't banned you.
No, one of the owners still really likes me. We message each other.
Well, that's nice. See, chat,
the
we
term
have trans
weeb
friends.
originally means. Some people are under the impression weeb refers to anyone who likes anime, and no, it doesn't. Weebs just told everyone that. Weeb refers to someone who eats, breathes, and shits anime. Someone who thinks you can use anime, a product of late-stage capitalism, as a Rosetta Stone for Japan and Japanese culture.
Wait a minute. Wait, what?
So, You heard it here, chat. A weeb is somebody who eats, breathes, and shits anime and believes anime is a Rosetta Stone for all of Japanese culture. So I have a couple of opinions here. So first off, they like completely misunderstand that first tweet. There is a huge difference between somebody that likes anime and somebody that only likes the anime that shows up on Cartoon Network. It is weird to say I am an anime fan and then you only watch the absolute most popular anime that has been on TV for the last 10 years and nothing else. It's the same. See, I think a lot of people forget we do the same thing for games. Like, if somebody only plays Madden or Call of Duty and they say they're a real gamer, most of us laugh at them. Because it's like, no, you're a Call of Duty fan, you're a Madden fan. You literally don't play anything else. You don't have any, like, knowledge about the gaming community. You never, like, go out of your comfort zone ever. You're not a gamer. You play games every so often. It's the same thing with weeb. It's not that you don't like eat, breathe, and shit anime. It's that the only anime you've ever watched is literally the most popular one, and everybody has watched it. I hate Modern Cotton Madden was resummoned.
I'm sorry, Chad. I just lost it there. I
also get really annoyed when people pull this weebs think anime is a Rosetta Stone into the Japanese culture. Well, you know what? It kind of is.
It kind of is, because it's like saying...
They're literally making shows about their culture.
It's like saying that if you watch any American TV shows, you're looking into a picture of the West. Which is true, by the way. I've had this thought for a while, and I was talking about this with Tem the other day. So, what was it? Dragon's Quest. Is it Dragon's Quest has changed the body types from male to female?
We were talking about that the other day and today, actually.
Yeah, so my thought process is... See, chat, here's my thing. Japanese companies are changing the body types from A to B. I don't necessarily think that that is a woke thing. My theory is, again, if Western media is a snapshot into what other people think Western ideals is, it makes perfect sense that if somebody ports a game over to America, they're like, oh, they like that weird shit. Let's just make them androgynous creatures because they will keep our stuff fine. And you even saw this when the Power World devs came out, and when people are like, oh, why, when you made your Power World character, it's A or B, they're like, oh, because Western people like weird shit. I don't know. We just did it to fit what they want. So it's just like, I totally believe that, like, your media is a snapshot into your culture, depending on, like, how good it is. Like, you look at all of the weird shit coming out in Western culture today, it all sucks. What do you think about Western culture? It sucks. So...
Here's the best example. Everyone always says that localization is important because it needs to localize it for our culture. Why does it need to be localized for our culture if it's not a view into any culture? And that's just not something that any of them want to bring up, because it's like,
we
don't have to admit that it is in fact a view into Japanese culture. Is like the average family in an anime exactly the same as the average Japanese family? No, it obviously isn't.
No.
You'd be dumb to think that. But is like some of the stuff that happens in it like pretty standard to like their everyday life? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's perfect, we're not saying it's one-to-one, but it's pretty obvious that there's plenty of stuff that goes on in anime that is based off, like, the creator's life. It's probably something from their childhood. It's probably got, like, a view of, like, how it was when they were in school. It's genuinely weird how they think that Japanese people put all this work into these anime, and they don't include anything about their personal life in it.
Oh, yeah. It's like, if I write by the way, chat, eventually there's going to be a book that I write. I'm going to put personal experiences in there that I feel like I could tell stories well with. That's what a good writer does. A good writer looks at the world around him or her and says, how can I include this in what I'm writing? That's how it works. That's how you get, like, some of the good shit you do. So, I think Lily is really stupid for saying that.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know.
Someone who fetishizes an imaginary version of Japan as this magical place where capitalism is good and women are the ultimate trad wives. Someone who will say it's just a drawing in regards to child pornography, but then flip the hell out if you make a character black. I could keep listing examples until this video breaches the duration limit.
That's so two totally different things. What the fuck are you saying? I have a problem with people that blackwash art or whitewash art because that's not what the artist originally intended. If the artist draws a lolly character or a character that is short, there's nothing wrong with that. These are two different arguments that you're trying to tell here, and it's stupid. How is that the same? That is not the same. One is altering and one is exactly staying the same. What the hell?
And it comes off as like this completely unhinged statement, too.
Weebs are probably patient zero for someone who only consumes one kind of media and who has written entire dissertations on why actually doing this is deeply cultured and I'm a better class of person for engaging with foreign media. But they don't really engage with foreign media. They exclusively engage with a very tiny portion of a tiny portion of a tiny portion of foreign media that is made exclusively to appeal to their very rigid and often deeply racist and deeply misogynistic.
That's not how this works.
They're the reason.
I would like to point out that this was originally a video about how it was like dark media versus like comfy cozy media.
How is this about comfy cozy media? This makes no sense whatsoever.
We spent a very small amount of time talking about comfy cozy media. We then spent about 3 minutes bashing the coffin of Andy and Lele. We have now spent about 5 minutes bashing anime specifically and anime fans.
You know what, chat? I'm gonna leave a comment on this video and just say 1 star, not good.
But that's just how these videos are. Like, they just devolve into like, I hate this kind of person, and I'm going to spend the rest of the video talking about how much I hate them. Also, like, you could argue that anime is, quote, one type of media, but there's like so much stuff in that one type that's all completely different. That like involves all kinds of different things. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Their favorite hobby has such a bad reputation in North America because the channels to find anime are often controlled or dominated by them, which means that if you wanted to find something enjoyable,
not true. The channels to get anime in America are controlled by the very people that we dislike and that are trying to censor the anime that we like. That is such a bad argument. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
You need to listen to this next part. This next part's the cherry on top.
Dominated by them, which means that if you wanted to find something enjoyable, then good fucking luck. People lie. They lie about their taste, they lie about the extent to which they've thought about their own taste, and they aren't really trying to convince you with any of these arguments, they're trying to convince themselves. And the point—
What?
This is how Lily sees everybody. Probably somewhat including themselves.
This is such a self-own. What the fuck? Lily, what are you trying to convince yourself of?
Like, nobody likes anything. They're all just lying to themselves, and they're lying to other people about enjoying it because they need to convince themselves that they actually like it. And it's like, are you insane? Do you just not enjoy anything?
Man, do you know how much money I spent on this anime model that I don't like, chat? Do you know how much money I spent on these computers so that I can stream for a product that I don't like? You know all these plushies that I have that I don't like? All this time I spend with people that I don't— Man, that's such a waste of time, man.
It's just one of those things, when you hear them talk about this, and at first you want to, like, be mad, because you're like, I'm not like that, I don't know anyone like that. But then you, like, take a step back, and you realize they're talking about themselves.
Yes, they are.
And it's like, I kind of feel sad for you. Like, this is beyond a pathetic way to live your life. And that's not like an insult to you or anything. It's just you genuinely don't enjoy anything, right? Like, that's all I can actually glean from this, is that there's nothing in your life you actually care about, and every day you're constantly trying to convince yourself to care. And it's just sad. I don't know. I can't imagine not enjoying anything I do.
It really just, they are 100% talking about themselves. Because again, like, some people, and I do think, do they have autism? I don't know. I don't like to self-diagnose everybody with autism, but like, it sounds like they look at the world as everybody is the same as them. And I know I had to stop myself from doing that when I was a teenager, because I thought everybody had the same mindset I did. And that's not true. Not everybody hates themselves like this. It literally sounds like Lily is into some pretty fucked up shit, and she's trying to justify that by telling everybody else that they suck. And maybe because like when somebody is depressed, sometimes they like to bring people down to their level. And maybe if Lily can bring everybody down to their level, it won't suck so bad. Yeah, everybody, I'm a Nazi and I'm a hateful bigot, but everybody else is too. So you know what? That means I'm just okay.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me that feels bad for them, and then I have to remember like who they are.
No, I don't feel bad.
Outside of everything else, and I'm like, you know what? You kind of deserve to live this miserable life, honestly, with all the stuff you've done.
If it's true, yeah.
It's just wild to me.
Point I'm trying to make is that you don't actually need to do that because nobody really gives a shit, and that dissertation is going to raise way more red flags.
Listen to your
Just
own
so we're clear,
words.
Your entire career is writing dissertations on the internet. You don't have to do that. You don't need to convince anybody with your dissertation. Why do you do it? What were you gonna say, Akko?
I can't remember. The thief sees no one but thieves. Mm-hmm. They're just dumb. Yeah, they're just dumb.
That's probably a fair point as well.
People are a lot more easygoing when you don't proselytize. I've ripped the fuck out of weebs on this channel, and my wife and two of my friends are huge fans of anime. I've made jokes at the expense of furries who insist they're part of some transgressive movement. Two of my friends are furries. I was utterly ruthless to the coffin of Andy and Lele, and one of my friends thinks it's peak fiction, and they keep making this shit the utterly adorable son of a bitch. It's not the stuff you like that makes people dislike you. You are the reason people dislike you.
Lily, perhaps you should consider what you've just said and all the other times in this video where you talked about how everyone needs to like you. Lily, you are the reason people dislike you and your content and everything you make. Absolute psychopath, honestly. Do you have any comments, Akko?
I'm thunderstruck right now. I'm thunderstruck. Yeah.
Of Thrones may as well be called the Incest and Dragon Show, and people en masse loved it, and they still love it. Flowers of...
This is something I wanted to talk about because this is one of the spots that was specifically shown on Twitter when people were making fun of them. But it's this idea that people can't be hypocrites, right? Where they're like, well, Game of Thrones has incest, and you don't hear people like regularly trashing that like they do anime, so clearly there's something wrong with the anime. But the thing is, anime's had like this horrid reputation for years before it had a fandom. Like, it's constantly had this reputation when it was still on like 4Kids, and it was just for children, and it was being regularly censored to shit, and it still got this horrible reputation when it didn't have a fan base. And it's just because people in the West have like this knee-jerk reaction to it because it's from another country, so it must be weird and wrong. And it's always one of those things where it's like, why do you refuse to acknowledge that people can just be hypocrites? Right? Because I've tried to show like my mom some anime before that was like very similar to stuff she would watch on TV, like regular movies. And the entire time she would sit through and she would nitpick every little thing. And that's just the way people are over here. Just for whatever reason, they do not like it. And they have a knee-jerk reaction to everything about it.
Well,
and they will make up reasons to hate it.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, my father watched the One Piece show from Netflix, loved it, and then sat down and watched the anime, and it's now one of his favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And that was the dub he watched.
Because he's too busy to watch the sub.
And that's the thing. Sometimes, like, especially older people need to have it put into this context that they can understand. Or this context that they're used to in order for them to see it as a valid thing. And I think my mom is very much the same way. Is if I found her, like, a really good live action of an anime that was something within her interest, she'd probably sit down and watch the whole thing and not have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I had sat her down in front of the anime first, she'd do the same thing she always does, and she'd nitpick the whole way, start to finish.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Akko can attest. Akko's met my mother. My mother did the exact same thing to everything we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mom was scary. And see, what's crazy is I lived in it my entire life being homeschooled, and I really didn't leave the house often. That was partially me. My mom also had to really teach me how to not be a retard. But I thought she was protective until I met Tim's parents. And then I, like, my first time going back home, I was like, Mom, I'll never question you again because I met somebody way worse. No offense, Tim.
No, don't get me wrong. I love my mother. But damn.
in the Attic is a classic, and there was such a demand for the sequel that the author had to hire a ghostwriter to keep up with it. But most people still don't like pro shippers because they won't get off their cracked, broken soapbox and leave everyone else alone.
See, I brought this up like multiple times already, but it's because Lily keeps trying to bring it up, and they're like, well, people don't like pro shippers because they won't get off their soapbox. What soapbox? There isn't one. There isn't like pro shipper pastors talking about the wonders of like non-con fiction. They're over in their corner saying, leave me the fuck alone, and people are constantly going over and trying to mess with them. They're so annoying with this, and they're not the only one. This is how a ton of people online act about it.
Mm-hmm.
Alone. Weeb World loves anime, and it's always loved anime. It just doesn't like you.
It's hilarious that they bring up this person, because this person has been absolutely raked over the coals for being a massive hypocrite. And they use the same person for like all three. I'm pretty sure this is also Neurality's video. Have you seen this person before, Akko?
I have not.
So this person that did the I'm tired of the 1,000-year-old lolly dragons did an entire video about why she hates lolicon. She has another entire video about why she would fuck the shit out of every shoujo she saw. Like, just very... It's not like questionable shoujas. It's blatantly shoujo erog series. And just how much she loves it. So, Lily, in using neuralities, has nuked their own argument. Because this person is like ground zero for just being a blatant hypocrite about everything within anime.
She sounds like a misogynist. Not Lily, but the person who made the video.
A little bit, yeah. It's like, you should not have used this person for your argument at all.
It's so funny.
Because they're just a hypocrite.
It's just so funny. It's like, yeah, I hate every lolicon in existence, but man, I would fuck the shit out of all those shotas. You know, I'm trying to think of... I don't know any shotas names. The guy from Monster Go Quest. What's his name?
There is a very famous meme of a girl looking at some of the female characters from My Hero Academia and going, "Oh, you're a pedophile if you find them hot." And then there's a picture of like Todoroki and Bakugo Yaoi on the other side, and she's like all rubbed up on it with her nose bleeding, saying, "Ooh, woo, my babies," or something like that. That picture is Norality's. Like, that picture was based on her because she has a ton of My Hero Academia hentai on her Tumblr.
What's her name?
Norality's. Somebody in chat put it. Cernable. Noralities.
See if they're on Twitter.
She is a massive Shotokan, and she just denies it because then people started calling her out for the lolly dragon
Oh my
thing.
gosh. There's a tweet from Shizu back in 2021. The Noralities video was seriously one of the worst cancers I've watched in a long time. She compared anime girls to fucking Nazi Germany propaganda. Then she complains about cancel culture because the real anime industry doesn't stand her bullshit.
Yeah. So it's just funny that Lily did zero research because they use this person for all of these. And this person is just a blatant hypocrite and completely torpedoes their own argument.
Oh, somebody showed two thumbnails. One where she's like, "I'm tired of the 1,000-year lolly," and the other one where she's like, falling in love with Ghost Boy, toilet-bound Hanako-kun, which looks like a huge Shota.
Yes.
She is such a misogynist. Holy shit. What the fuck?
I didn't see this part of the video originally, so I'm glad we can also introduce you to Noralities.
Nobody likes you, and wholesome, uplifting shows like My Little Pony, Steven Universe, or Smiling Friends are among the most popular shows on the air. It's just that nobody likes the kind of person who makes these shows their entire personality because you keep harassing Make-A-Wish children and trans women. So when you're stuck in an argument with someone about how your taste in media makes you a more well-adjusted person, just remember, you're not.
So just so we're clear, she spent 7 minutes railing against anime fans specifically, and then she spent 5 to 10 seconds looping back around to, "Oh yeah, if you're a Steven Universe or Brony that harasses Make-A-Wish children, that's also bad."
She
just walked away.
She must not have a Twitter, because I can't find it. Oh, wait, maybe this is her.
Who, Noralities?
Yeah.
She deleted hers.
Her Twitter?
Yeah, after she started getting, like, absolutely raked over the coals.
Good. Not good, just like, if you're not gonna handle the heat, then just fucking...
Yeah,
Good.
so chat, you probably noticed there's a massive discrepancy in her talking about the uwu soft people and her talking about the dark fiction people. And it's because this video isn't wholesome versus dark media debate. This video is why I hate dark media. Also, we're gonna say both sides are just as bad, so I have like some excuse to defend myself. Like, no, it's very blatant what you were trying to do. And even then, I'm not even sure this is a wholesome versus dark media thing, because half the video was just anime fans suck. Specifically anime fans, like, what is wrong with you? Chat, if you think that's some of the worst slop you've ever seen, Lily Orchard does have like a 2-hour video on the Legend of Korra.
That might be worth watching one day.
I'm not watching that shit on stream. I refuse. Don't
Fair
even
enough.
put that as like a member thing.
Fair enough.
I will smack the shit out of you if you try it.
We'll just do the Lily Orchard, torture porn.
Is that the name I'm thinking of? High Guardian Spice, the one that Crunchyroll
High
did
Guardian
as their own
Spice is some of the
OG
worst
anime?
drivel. See, people call that an anime. That is the furthest fucking thing from an anime ever. Not only does it not feel like an anime, the animation is nowhere near anime. Alright? I refuse to call that
If it's the
piece of
one
shit
I'm thinking
anime.
of, that is horrendous.
So, Chad, I think it's important for those of you who don't know to like fully understand why High Guardian Spice was so hated. And it wasn't just the fact that it was bad, right? Because it was bad. The other problem was for weeks, Crunchyroll had been in controversy, and they were really pushing this idea that if you give Crunchyroll money, that money goes back to Japan to help like disenfranchised mangaka that are underpaid and like not getting reasonable amounts of money for their work in the Japanese industry. And then they announced that they had fully funded High Guardian Spice with subscriptions on Crunchyroll. And that just like these things were happening at the exact same time, and it really set people off. Because like I thought you were telling us all our money was going back to Japan to help the disenfranchised artists over there that weren't getting paid enough. Now you're telling us you've been taking all of our money and filtering it into your own personal projects.
That sucks.
And the thing is,
real kick in the teeth is they did that, and then were almost immediately bought by Sony.
Yeah. So a lot of people try and put it as like it was just a bad show. It didn't deserve the hate it got. A lot of people forget it's a stacking. It's a compounding issue. There was that, and then there was also when they put out the first previews of High Guardian Spice, all they talked about was like how diverse their team was. They didn't say a single thing about the show. Not one thing about the entire show. It was just, our team is all women, our team has some trans people, it's like our team is fully diverse. Didn't have, by the way, it's a very diverse team, didn't have a single man on it
at all.
I think some people forget what diversity means.
They do. They forget what diversity means for the sake of agenda, and that has become way more prevalent these days.
But there was like so many other issues surrounding that show, and they kept trying to pretend like it was just one thing that people were hating it for. It's like, no, there's a lot of problems surrounding this, and some of it's not the show's fault. Some of it's Crunchyroll's fault. But the show is being funded by Crunchyroll, so that's you kind of got to take it, or take the lumps with Crunchyroll. You don't really have a way to escape it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a better way to describe diversity, how these people describe it, is more like Mass Effect.
Oh, it's just no white men.
Right, but that's diversity now. What people are actually looking for when it comes to diversity is, oh, here's some really unique characters here. Here's a blue alien. Here's a chick in a hazmat suit that she just wears forever. Here's a bug dog that everyone wants to fuck. Like, that's
also, you probably got me for another 30 minutes because I just took some NyQuil.
Okay. Well, it's been 2.5 hours.
Yeah, the starting preamble went over a lot more than I thought it would.
I'll be honest with you, it's totally fine. Totally fine with me.
I'm sure all of you guys enjoyed us talking about how much we hate Steven Universe and other shows.
Just how...
I totally keep going to chat, but I'm sick, so I'm probably gonna pass out soon.
Mizu got the Anime Expo Congress.
And I'm fine, but like I really don't like carrying shows by myself. There's a reason why I ask people if they want to jump on that they can, and it's because I like streaming, but I like having people to talk to, and people seem to like it as well. I've noticed that people like to tune in more when there are other people that are talking with me. So.
Absolutely. Conrad?
If we had more time, and maybe we can watch this on another time. Buddy Love on the Discord, thank you for the submission, by the way. Submitted this: artists roast Nikkei characters. This is a not safe for work artist that roasts Nikkei characters, by the way. And from the short clip I watched, I scrolled to a random point too. I was pissed off, and all of the comments are like flaming. Like, here, let me. I want to read some of these comments because some of these comments were great. I'll just like read one or two of them.
From what, the Lily thing?
No, from this artist roast Nikkei characters. Let's see. Let me find a good one. Let's see. It implies high school and we don't do that shit. Yes, does blue archive art.
I'm sorry. if you're a not safe for work artist doing Blue Archive, but you're giving Nikkei shit,
Draws Pokemon not safe for work. Opinion rejected.
oh my god. Okay, well hold on. Is it Pokemon not safe for work in terms of like the adult characters, or is it like the trainers who we know are actually children?
You'd have to look on their page in order to figure that out.
Ooh.
This person says, I loved her other videos, like her RE4 playthrough, and I love her art, but she comes off as extremely hypocritical and petty. Yeah, I don't understand why, but some artists are so hypocritical to other artists. And I don't know if it's like that they're jealous or they're worried about their art not being good enough. I don't know what it is, but artists will flame other artists all the time. And there is absolutely no reason to, because people thrive off of each other, and it's just... I don't get it. She has Pokemon, Danganronpa, and Kingdom Hearts! Okay, woman, you are not allowed to complain about any gacha game when you draw Danganronpa and Kingdom Hearts. And I don't care if the Danganronpa characters are quote-unquote canonically 18. They still they still like portray them as high schoolers. So you have no room to talk. Oh, fuck. That is so dumb.
Real quick, I guess it kind of lines up with some minor controversy. Did I send it to either of you? No. Okay, no, I sent it to Mizu. So apparently, Riot announced that they were doing a League of Legends statue of the $500 Ari skin.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess how much the statue is?
Like a couple thousand.
$200.
I accidentally closed the music here.
The thing, I didn't say anything, but I'd actually already mentioned that to you the day it came out.
Oh, you mentioned the statue? I didn't even hear that. I know you mentioned the skin.
Not just that statue, you can buy all 3 Riot-sponsored RE statues for, I think, only $50 more than the RE skin package.
See, here's what I think they should have done. If they wanted to charge an absorbent amount of money for these, tie the skin to the statue. Like, you get the statue. Here's a code to put into your game to get the skin.
A lot of people would have bought the statue, in my opinion, then.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I think it would have been more respect. It would have been way more respectable if you did that too.
Yeah. Well, it works out in 14. If you buy, like, there's dozens of things you can buy on the Square Enix store, but a lot of the things that specifically tied to 14 come with a code for a minion that you can put in the game.
Cause yeah, we would watch some of the Nikkei video, but like, Mizu needs his rest, and I'd like to have him get his rest, cause
yeah.
Yeah, but we went for 2.5. Listen, chat, this video was almost 18 minutes long. I didn't expect we were gonna go for this long. I expected that this was gonna be like an hour max. But then we got to talking about other shit in the beginning. I actually really like this episode, even though it's not like one of our normal ones. This one was pretty fun. This was pretty fun.
Yeah, Lumi was gone. I wasn't here for half of it. Although I'm never here, so that doesn't matter.
I don't know. It was a good episode. Pretty good episode. I don't know. Besides the parts that made me upset, you know. My computer must be overheating? No.
Every stream that makes you upset, even just mildly.
Kind of, I guess. I don't know.
There's just so much crap going on that no matter what, you just, every day, you just find something to go, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, I typically do say that, yeah.
I'm disappointed in everybody.
Equally.
Specifically Lily Orchard today, though.
Oh, yeah.
You disappointed me, my day is ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're such an idiot. This video made me physically ill. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have something to torture you guys with. Because if I'm in pain today, everybody else needs to be in pain with me.
Yeah.
Something something misery loves company.
Yeah.
I can't make you all sick, but I can make you all mentally distressed.
Don't worry, Mizu. Just travel to every one of your viewers and cough on them. You can make him sick then.
Oh, that's so mean.
I'm just gonna send all of our followers empty letters that I coughed into.
No,
I'm just gonna.
have a letter. Just cough straight into it. And then, even better, you know the whole like licking the thing to keep it so it doesn't unfold?
Oh, yeah, make sure to lick every letter.
Sneezuhana. That's a good one.
You guys have a good night though.
Are you
We'll-
You
What?
popping
Yeah.
off? Okay. Sounds good. We'll close out the stream here. Chat, I'm gonna do an all-day stream tomorrow to make up for the 4 days where I had nothing. You might
Yeah.
see Mizu there.
Yeah,
Until
because
then,
Akka's been lazy, chat.
I haven't been lazy. Literally, the people that were supposed. I'm not gonna get into that because
I feel, and I have PG&E.
I'm not gonna. There's only so much I can say, chat. I'm gonna talk about it more tomorrow. Short and skinny. I was in a hurricane. I survived. I'm okay. The hurricane didn't tear down my house, but it tore down a whole bunch of people's
Akko was
power.
fine in the hurricane because Akko and water are perfect.
Yeah, chat. By the time I woke up, the hurricane was basically over my head, but it was nothing but rain and wind, so I was fine. But we'll talk about it tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be fun. I'm gonna wait a couple days, but I'm gonna talk about.
What is the plan tomorrow? It's First Descendant all day?
We'll see. I might transition to some VR chat as well. We'll see.
I'm probably playing Elden Ring all day, and then later in the evening, I have to stream with Dama.
You don't have
We'll
to.
do more
You chose to.
old retro MMOs.
Fair enough. But anyway,
Uh,
chat. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Thanks, Temp, for filling the void.
Yeah.
See, Lumi is kind of there in the background. And she's kind of.
Little Lumi's behind me.
She's not behind you. She's like you dragged and put her there. Play Rocky like a hurricane. See, chat. I would play funny music, but now I have to be selective because YouTube is paying us now. Well, YouTube
Yeah,
is
you gotta be-
allowing people to pay us.
I mean, you could use the music I sent you, the
I am.
bits and whatever.
I am.
Good.
But outro songs are like.
Yeah, you gotta be a little more selective about that.
How long is this Nikkei video? It's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to react to the whole thing, but because like I'm sure that like once you do 20 to 30 minutes of it, it's just like okay, that's probably good enough. We can pair it with
And
another
she has
thing.
Elig in the thumbnail. Elig is literally peak design.
Yeah.
Lumi is dead. She is sushi.
Lumi is sushi, sure.
Mershi.
What?
Mermaid sushi.
What?
Mershi.
Okay, chat. We're going now. You guys have a good night. You all
Night,
have a
chat.
good one. Bye.